Earth Debate, Uncut and After Show. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they premiere, and there's also a coffee, Patreon, crypto and thanks button in the info box below the video. Speaking of Patreons, I'm going to do a quick shout out to all of you who do support me on Patreon. So, a massive shout of thanks and appreciation to Survive the Spin, Effie Patriot, Steve, On The Level, Thomas van der Zander, Your Name, Gary Hughes, Measured Flat, Chris Wouters, Sensual Goat, Mitch Kennedy, Rod, The Name's Burley, Twadwazzle, Jason Hornsby, Christoph Fournier, Flat Earth Travolta, JMels24, Unamento, Iron26, Endless, Golden McKiernan, Retro Bill, Level Playing Poem, Michael Kahn, John Kays, Patrick Gunnels, Banter, Mel B. Styles, Hairy Blade, Mobile Max 777, Rob W., Del West Watson, Unbelievable Productions, Blue Ridge Ranger, Abraham Mohammed, Skeptic 936, Texas Mike, Chow Yun Cat, David Wayne Foster, and Dank. So another massive thank you to all of you for supporting me on Patreon. Links to Patreon are below this video. With that, I'll pass over to whoever is in Discord and Google so you can enjoy their dulcet tones as we are in the politics Flat Earth Debate section of it today. So you can enjoy their dulcet tones while I set up for today's live show.
If that was in fact the case, this would be the case. Now, do you actually see that this is happening? Because if it's not happening, then guess what? That can't be the case.
Can I be honest with you, man? Can I be honest with you?
You can be honest with you. I hope you'd be honest. That's what I'm seeking. Intellectually honest conversation from my fellow brothers and sisters. So if you would like to step forward as a proponent of an intellectually honest person, please go ahead.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah, it just sounds like you're trying to bait a conversation of the flat Earth out of me. I've told you multiple times, man. I just came
Why
to say
not?
hi.
Hold on. Let him go.
Okay,
Go ahead.
hi. Hey.
Because what I want to know is if you're actually capable of having an intellectually honest conversation with somebody, right? Because you stepped up wanting to say hi, and I'm like, oh hey, someone who's willing to talk. So can we have an intellectually honest conversation about something?
Maybe I don't want to. Maybe I just wanted to say hello.
Hi. So you've done your job. You've accomplished what you needed to. You can move on and allow someone else to talk. Does someone else want to have an intellectually honest conversation?
It's not a honest conversation, and it wasn't your intention from the beginning, because when you jumped in the server, you were talking about the globe Earth. You talked about you being convinced that the Earth is a globe. That's not saying hi. If you are confused by that, yeah, you said that.
I didn't. I just said hi, you fucking retard.
Hey, see, and here you go. See, it didn't take long for you to expose yourself, right? Because now you're attacking people. Because when you came in, your claim was you have evidence, and when we said hi, what is your evidence? You said I'm just kidding. So that actually was the definition of entrapment.
Yeah,
I wasn't saying hi.
Right.
You fell for it.
I just called you out for your poor. No, I didn't fall for it. We called you out for your poor behavior.
You're getting mad over someone saying hello. Do you hear yourself? You sound like a fucking retard. You're getting mad over someone saying hello. Listen to yourself.
Brother.
Okay, but please stop swearing. Please stop swearing.
I drew out the idea, right, that, and again, Necros just backed up that you came in, right, saying hi, making a claim of evidence. We asked you for it. You're like, hi, I don't actually have it. So really, who's being the child? And here you are attacking people, calling them effing retards, cussing on a live show, right when there's actually no need for it. You're calling me emotional, brother? I really think you need to reassess your view on this Friday morning. Go ahead.
Here, check side chat. Check side chat.
I don't need to check side chat. I'm talking to you, Bright Eyes.
I posted evidence in side chat.
I don't care about what you posted. Explain to me what your evidence is so we can figure out whether or not
my evidence was deleted. It obviously doesn't want to be heard.
Take your circumstantial evidence, right? Unpack it so we can figure out if it's direct evidence or not, right? And then let's see what it is. What is your evidence?
I'm gonna post it. It's right here,
Explain it, Bright Eyes.
Hold on.
Explain it.
All right.
Don't post the same garbage again, 9K. Otherwise, you're just gonna get it deleted again. And if you keep chat skanking, I'm gonna have to ban.
Yeah, unreasonable.
Yo,
you know what?
You know what? AJ, I want Let me talk to this guy for a quick second. I want to hear what he has to say. Explain your evidence, boy. Let's hear about it. Let's talk about it. Unpack it.
Well, you didn't even bother to read it.
No, I don't need to. I want you to tell me. You're the one, right, that put the evidence in the chat. That means that you're going to take that evidence as your authority, right? So I want you to stand upon your evidence, right, and tell me how that makes it true. That's what evidence is about, bro. Tell me. Bring it.
All right. Okay. All right.
Explain it.
Okay.
Take it frame by frame it.
Okay. Okay. Pull your pants down.
My pants are being pulled down, actually, because I just got in from the gym.
Right, just let him answer now. We've gotten to the point where he's going to explain it, so let him explain it.
Apologize.
All right.
Go ahead.
Pull your pants down.
They are pulled.
All right. Do you have balls?
Brother, you're getting a little too personal.
No,
Continue with your evidence.
listen. Do you have testicles?
Yes.
Okay. Grab your right hand, or I don't know if you're a lefty or a righty.
That's enough. That's enough with this child.
Grab
Give
your ball.
him 30 more seconds. See where he's going. He might have an example attached. Just let him go for 30 more seconds.
Oh, Nathan's here. You're on. You're done now.
He's
son.
halfway
I'll
through his
withdraw.
example. He might actually have. I often make crude examples with farts and things, so maybe he has got an example at the end of this. Give him a chance. Go ahead. I'm paying attention.
Are your balls round?
Non sequitur.
What? You don't have balls.
Non sequitur. NON-SEQUITOR. That means it's not related to the subject at hand, dipshit.
So you don't have. So you're admitting. So you're refusing to admit that you have balls.
Wow.
Do you know what a non sequitur is?
So you don't. So you're a male with no
Do
balls.
you know what a non sequitur? Do you know what a non sequitur is?
Hey,
Do you know what a non sequitur is?
there you go.
You
Prove the Earth is flat. No balls. No balls.
Oh,
You don't
wow.
have the balls to prove the
wow.
Earth is flat.
I have plenty of. Yeah, you want to know what? Hey, Bright Eyes, have you ever built anything in your life?
Okay, let's
I'll go
just
right
stop.
back
Both
to
of you
my
stop.
same
Right.
old
Okay,
drum
stop.
that I
Stop.
beat.
Stop. Stop. Right. I can appreciate your
Stop.
being very irritated, and I allowed it to continue to its conclusion. He had nothing but an ad hom and a non sequitur. You were right. Now you've identified that. Allowing him to just carry on is pointless. But yes, you proved this guy was completely disingenuous. I don't know what he was spamming in chat. Well done, Killian, if that's how you say your name.
I don't see anything from him in chat.
No, it got deleted. It was a gif of a guy looking at his balls, realizing they were round, so he was flattening them out and smashing them with a hammer.
That's just
And he was
gross.
blaming flat earthers.
That's what they want, though, isn't it? They're just angry at us.
Time.
It's so awesome.
Yeah, well done. You did well.
So awesome.
You did well. You took it to its logical conclusion and then pointed out the non sequitur that he rounded up with. Well done.
I'd much rather not engage with the children.
Oh, I love engaging with the children because when you put the children in their places, it allows the grown-ups to rise to the occasion and actually have a conversation where we can bring up the intellect of the conversation at hand. Children, sit down.
Indeed.
Yeah, I like you, Killian.
Appreciate it. I'm just a man looking for the curve. Show me the top over distance. Let's talk about the spheroid and stop pointing at the sky and saying, look at the sky, that means the ground is curved.
That's what they do every time. They look to something what is not them. Like he told you, do you have balls? So he asked you to look to your testicles and to just confuse your testicles with you. If my testicles have that testicle shape, I don't have that same shape. It's not me. Like the stars. It's not the earth. It's not the ground.
Necros, again, within the confines of the conversation, right? We can simply just exit and say it's a non sequitur, right? If they don't know what that is, they can move on, Google what a non sequitur is, and come back to the conversation with something that is online to the topic that we're trying to figure out. The title of the room, 24/7 flat. If you have something that shows different, bring it. My testicles are a non sequitur to what we're discussing at the end of the day, regardless of your gift that you can come up with in your mind space or not.
I think,
or mind's eye, sorry.
Hold on. Necros is describing the fallacy of division, right? Describing part as true of the whole. Well, unfortunately not. I mean, it would have been a fallacy of division if it had drawn some conclusion that had a parallel with the globe Earth when he compared it to testicles. But he didn't do that. He's just a glorified ad hom. Well, you're not a man if you don't admit that you've got them. If you've got them, they're round, therefore the Earth is round. That's completely non sequitur. So I appreciate that you, on his behalf, you're kind of trying to make it a more clever fallacy than it actually is, Necros. And I appreciate that, because I could see how that could have turned into a fallacy of division. It's like, yeah, what's true of my testicles isn't true of my entire body. If you're going to say your testicles are round, therefore you're round, but you wasn't. You say the globe's round. You're like, this is non sequitur.
Yeah, completely non sequitur. Your testicles are round, therefore the globe is round. The Earth is round also.
Yeah, exactly.
That's stupid.
Sad. The real point of that is because he wants us to identify his gift where he's showing flat earthers having their genitals smashed. Because that's what he wants to do to flat earthers, because he's in a lot of pain and he wants to express that pain through that sort of behaviour. It's intolerable, really, and sad and childish.
Well, we can see they're sending their best in again, yeah. We're getting the best of the globers.
But if I may say, correct me if I'm wrong here, but isn't the whole point of evidence you taking that evidence, unpacking the evidence yourself, so that when you come to a conversation like this, you can actually explain what it is, how these conclusions were actually derived from the observation, so you can prop up whatever model it is you are attempting to prop up, versus you saying, hey, room, look at this evidence for yourself to say that this is in fact the evidence of the globe.
I agree with every bit except model. There aren't any models.
Fair.
But yeah, other than that, you're absolutely spot on.
Like, understand what you're showing, right? If there's problems in what you're showing in a room like this, you're going to be found out. That's the most unfortunate part of this entire thing. Y'all think you're so smart. I found the globe is drop over distance and it's because of the stars in the sky. Well, tell us how. Because if we find out that you've actually just measured spherical excess, I'll just point at McToon. Go look at his charts and his spherical excess charts that he's published all over his website, and you can see it's fallacy upon fallacy upon fallacy, because you forgot to figure out that the station that you're measuring from needs to be calibrated and ensure that it's level before you start making all your presupposed observations, confirming that there's in fact a curve, ball, spheroid thing floating in space.
Busy room. Good to see. Any further progress, AJ?
Yeah, we were just discussing that. So we can't organise a stage anymore because we would have to organise it as our own staged event, not your staged event. They've changed the rules. So you can have a staged event, but you would need to get your moderators to organise it directly through politics as your own event. And there also is a way you can join and create a room, or you can continue doing what you're doing here and popping in on Fridays. And
No, that's okay.
Room,
I'm sure I've got plenty of. That sounds good. So if I've got a willing participant on my own side, I mean, I haven't got a server, but I'm sure someone from Righteous's server would be willing to contact politics and say, yeah, I'll be willing to run a room if you organise it for us. Maybe even Righteous himself. Good way to schmooze in a different server as a server operator, right? So yeah, that has its advantages. I can understand why they've done it that way. That makes total sense. But it means from one point of view, it's out of your hands. But it doesn't, because it means that in the meantime, there's been a lot more discipline, without sounding rude, to the mods in terms of what happens in this room, sort of prior to an event running. Now, if that event has to be run by quote unquote my mods, which I haven't got, but I can definitely, rustle up from a server, whatever that may be.
I'm sure that
then so be it.
I'm sure that B or Righteous or someone can organise it. If you just want to do the Friday staged events, then they can organise that directly with politics. And then once that stage is set up, anyone from here or from Righteous server, the mods over there can run the stage for you.
Okay. Right, so I need to speak to Righteous then, basically, don't I?
Yeah, I can have a chat with him too if you like at some stage and just let him know what's exactly happening.
Yeah. How long do you reckon? How slow are the cogs of politics? So, in other words, for the sake of argument, if I literally called him this second and said, "Right, this is the situation," and I explained what you've just explained, how long would it take him to set up a room? If I was like, "I don't care, I'm literally free for the next 400 hours, any time you like," how long do you reckon it would take him to set that up? Is it just a matter of seconds?
Yeah, he could get it done. Right away. Basically how it works. I kind of took point on this. I did articulate that with AJ. You guys just agree to follow each other's guidelines, and then you become a partner, and then from there you can become a VIP partner, and all you need to do is just be a partner server, and then you can make your own staged events.
Okay, that sounds hella complicated, but that sounds like Discord language that Righteous would definitely understand, and it means nothing to me. But great, that's a solution, isn't it? Excellent. Oh, well, cool. So maybe next week, because I'm not going to speak to him immediately and hope that he's going to become a VIP member or whatever he needs to be in the next 25 seconds, because he's not.
No, just partner, not VIP. We're VIP partner, but that takes a lot more effort. We have to agree to other things too.
Yeah, but your VIP partner's here. He needs to be from a different server. That is to say, Righteous and his server needs to become a member to host a show on their server for me, based on it being my server, even though it strictly isn't. But, I use it daily.
Yeah, it's like
it
an
is as good as mine.
It's just partnerships that you guys both agree to follow the same rules.
Yes.
Which means, like, some of the things that happened in the past, like, using, any sort of racial slur or whatever, all these things would jeopardize a partnership.
Gotcha.
Or,
okay,
any sort of
that's good. That means, because of the consequences, sorry to talk through you, it means that when I suggest this to Righteous, I need to explain to him, please go through these rules with me so I don't jeopardize this, because it's considered my server, therefore I'm representative of you, even though it's you running it. So make sure I'm clear of all the rules of the partnership so I can't jeopardize that relationship between the servers. Make sense?
Yeah, it's really, because this space is more kind of inclusive and kind of like, left leaning. So like they got that sort of value of safe space. So any sort of derogatory term towards any sort of group is they consider it a violation.
Okay.
And depending on how protected that group is, it could be just a bigoted comment to all the way to a hate crime.
Sure. It's the same as YouTube rules by the sounds of things. I think when...
Oh, yeah, really close. That's why it's been a great partnership for us, because we follow YouTube guidelines already. And they're like, perfect.
Well, that's it. There's a symbiosis when you're saying, no, that's too close to the bone, or I, in this server, not often, maybe there's an example or two, but where I've said, no, I won't have that on my channel because it would break YouTube terms of service. But by the same token, that would have been echoed by you as mods because it breaks the terms of the politics server.
Yeah, so it's kind of both. Yeah, it's not it sounds like it's a lot, like it's a big workload. But yeah, if you're going to start in 40 minutes, I'm pretty sure you guys could get it if you really wanted to.
No.
Or wait till next week.
I'd rather wait till next week, right? I don't want to rush these things. I mean, by the same token, it's taken a few weeks, but good things come to those who wait. And now that there's a means of doing it, whoever I was trying to attempt to get Righteous to rush their way through it now would probably be a bit put out. You just think, no, we're doing this. There's people here. By the same token, by not having a room in the meantime, right, it's meant that you guys, as I just said, have to brush up your, disciplinary skills for all of this room, which is pretty big in the before and after stages. So it's not like I'm not going to jump in before the show starts like I am now. It's just that it'll have an actual room for when my live on YouTube show actually begins, which is going to be in however many minutes, 40 minutes time. So yeah, it's good. We'll get it done over the next week. But thank you for sorting it out, AJ and whoever else, Crit.
Yeah, and the other
Uh,
option too is there's a create your own voice channel. Like if you look all the way down the bottom of the server, if you join that voice channel, it creates another voice channel that it moves you to, and you can name it whatever you want. You can set all kinds of rules up for it too, like people join muted. There's a bunch of different bot commands that give you like it's like a mini stage.
Okay.
And sometimes people are able to get VIP partners through that because they see, hey, people have made their own channel that's really popular. Let's offer that group guest privileges. And
Yes.
that's what happened with us. We, me and Heretic had constantly kept opening a channel down there, and then they approached Heretic and said, "Hey, do you guys want your own guest channel? That way you don't have to keep it open."
It makes total sense now that it's being laid out to me. This is literally going to result in growth, mutually beneficial on both sides. Growth is the only outcome. So I can totally understand them wanting to do it in this way. It also means there's an in-between stage that gets you to agree again, because I'm sure we've all agreed already to the rules. But it's being made abundantly clear at that connection point, right? If this growth costs us, or gets close to costing us any sort of penalty in Discord, then that relationship gets severed. In other words, it's not worth the growth if the growth's going to cost us something. So it's worth reiterating the rules at this stage. So it all makes total sense. And I'm glad. It's good, because it means that not only me, but anybody associated has to be made acutely aware of the penalties for both parties if we break the rules. So it means that everybody's more disciplined. And when people who don't give a toss about the rules, their guests, come in, everyone's on them like flies on the proverbial. All combined, not me or not just Righteous and him in his connection to that room, but everybody, which is how it should be. Good.
That's how we've always run this channel, especially like coming from 24/7. We're live streaming all of the time, right? So anybody that comes in and drops N-bombs or calls any type of slur or anything by the terms of service, and especially being in this channel, we have to eject them straight away. We can't, because then we'll lose the privilege of being here, and then we'll lose the privilege of live streaming, right? Got to follow the rules. It's very simple to do, though.
Yeah, and ultimately, I'm sure, like YouTube, they're not like somebody's come in and spewed a word into your stream, therefore will immediately cut you off. I'm sure there's a staged process to stop that happening and hear your excuses and appeal and all that sort of stuff. Just like on YouTube. I'm guessing. I don't know. I'll have to ask Righteous, but I'm pretty sure that would be the case. So they know. I would assume that you're going to have people in that are literally with the intent of malice and want to spew hate. And you when it happens, you stop it, as opposed to I will prevent it ever happening, because you can't do that. There's going to be someone on this show that'll come in that'll say something they shouldn't.
Yeah, we had a guy who was doing that. He was joining, blurting slurs and stuff, and then clipping it and sending it to the mod mail. And eventually the mods figured out it was him who was doing it. So they came on us and said, "Hey, good job for muting him as quick as you did." And we banned that user. And he came back with a sock like 3 or 4 times. And eventually they did like some sort of IP ban. He hasn't been back since.
Perfect. So it sounds good. These are the stories you want to hear. So it sounds like the people who are running it, they want to keep the people who are using their software, that's Discord, happy. In other words, they're reasonable. Good.
Yeah, and they'll also act as a moderator, like not a mediator, sorry, as a mediator. If there's somebody who has a problem with the format, they'll try to figure out how to get that person to say, "Hey, just don't join the channel. This is why we were platforming this topic or this special interest." And sometimes that alone, hearing it from them, because they're not really listening to, say, us, flat earthers, but hearing it from the server moderators and server admin, it kind of diffuses the situation too, and they stop their their shenanigans.
Yeah, these are all good things to hear.
But you got to give Crit the credit for all that information. That all came through Crit, so
it's good that it parallels YouTube. In fact, it's ideal, because it means that there's consequences for the for the portal I'm using to have people onto the live stream. It's like if there's an understanding by everybody that there's rules, and even the portal itself, that's Discord for me, has those rules, then it's being prevented at every avenue. You're like, good, because there's high consequences for all. Anyway, enough of that. Hopefully there'll be lots of people talking about proving this and that today. There is no debate. A matter of pointing
Lots
that
of
out to
people have been telling me recently that gas expands into space unless there's a lot of gas. So lots of gas stops entropy. I've been trying to get away with that recently. It's been bugging me.
And that was a flat earther, supposedly. A new up and coming flat earther. She had no clue that there's other flat earthers on Discord, and you're like, wait, what?
Well, we've also got flat earthers stating that we live on a globular shaped planet.
Oh yeah, there's Bev. Bev came out as a true global, or
which means what?
Something with imagination, I guess. Like if you listen to the clip, I mean, people have been sharing it. It's like a 45-second clip, and it's glorious.
He's not
really
here.
is
I really hate to be rude. Any other day, if it was just my show, yes, but let's not play a clip.
Yeah.
We'll just deal with the people that are here.
Yeah, so I'm saying you got to hear it to believe it. That's
Sure.
Basically what I was saying. Like I can't do it justice.
No. I'm not saying I won't. I do want to.
What he said.
If you can get it to me,
flat.
If you can get it to me on Master B,
right in the horse's mouth. It is absolutely pure entertainment value.
Yes, I agree. But
Drop
I
it in
will
the
definitely
chat,
cover it.
Chris.
If you can get it to me on Master B on Skype, I'll definitely cover it. But I just don't want to cover it while we're here in politics. That's all.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, if you drop it in the chat, I'll put it in Master B for you, Chris.
Okay.
Yeah, so hopefully while we're here, we'll dispel a few myths about there actually being a debate about this subject.
What debate? There never was a debate.
Yeah, well, we didn't know that till recently, and now we're here to spread that word.
It's not a debate, it's an interrogation.
Of who? Who are we interrogating?
We'd be interrogating these globers that are coming in claiming to have evidence, yeah?
Their origin's the same as ours.
Trying to point this out to some guy today who came in claiming the usual Aristosthenes and the method. He also made the claim that maths is reality. So I tried to take him through the process of what Aristosthenes is said to have done, and making him realise that this can only be done on a flat surface because we're measuring angles to the sun. So he after I tried to explain that to him very succinctly, he kind of just went off of the rails. They don't realise that every single time they bring us a piece of proof, they're more than likely going to be using the flat earth to demonstrate it.
Not more than likely.
Always.
Without exception.
Yep.
All of the measurements are flat. There are no exceptions.
Even if they use that colloquial model, that model was derived from flat Earth.
What model
they just
would that
slapped
be?
the ball sticker on it.
What model would that be? Do you want to show it us?
Yeah, I mean, with the whole angles to Polaris thing.
Which one's that?
The flat Earth.
Do you mean the celestial sphere?
Yeah.
Okay, I mean it's not a model. So these are mathematical descriptions, and we have pictures that try and describe visually what these maths that create the paradigm of the globe are. I'm being really specific because I've got it in the neck in the last couple of months from QE for saying the word model, because I've got it on screen now, a picture of the celestial sphere. It's got the extended celestial plane, it's got the equatorial plane, it's got the globe protractor, and it's got the celestial sphere wrapped around the whole lot. But that's not a model. It's just a picture that's trying to visually represent a Copernican orbital version of an Earth with the extended equatorial plane in the celestial sphere. It's just a picture of that. And what is that? Well, that is just maths, Keplerian maths in that particular instance. So it's a hard thing to shift from. I've taken 6 months of getting it in the net going, you can't use that word model. I'm like, yeah, but it slips off the tongue so nicely because they tell us they've got one. Well, number one, they haven't got one. Number two, when you look into what might be suggested to be a model like the celestial sphere, it isn't. Yeah, it's. I hope I'm not viewed as being pedantic when I do this multiple times, but it's just one of them. Sorry.
Just a diagram.
Yeah, they're kind of in the same way where like a toy of Optimus Prime or like a model airplane, those are just a representation of the whole thing. It's not the thing.
Yeah, but those, we never get that with the globe.
Who?
Oh, Lite, top here.
He may have had a change of heart after listening, honestly.
Well, he wanted to know what an aperture was today. He brought up the Jaren video from YouTube or from Netflix. Sorry, he wanted to know why the torch wasn't sufficient, but didn't understand aperture or what happens when light passes through an aperture. He was going to have it explained. He jumped out.
Is he still here?
Oh, he's just jumped back in. That's why I was asking him what happened earlier. Why did he jump out earlier today?
Did you have a question, dude?
Ollie, you got anything you want to follow up from today or earlier?
Okay, now I want to know what an aperture is. Somebody tell me. I'm dying over here. Come on.
An aperture.
Yeah, I'd love to know what an aperture is.
It's like what you look through, like a lens, like a
Yeah, it's when light passes through basically a hole or an opening that allows light to pass through. So you've got two different types, which would be a fixed aperture or a variable aperture. So a variable aperture would be what you have on a camera. So when Jaron did what he did and he set up the boards with the holes in them and he has to shine the light through the holes, then that would be an aperture.
Means
and then
hole.
when light passes, sorry?
Just eating a sandwich. Sorry, I didn't want to interrupt with my mouthful. Just means hole.
Yeah, basically, yeah, it just means hole. It just restricts the amount of light that can come through.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. So wait a second, guys. You mean to tell me that the human eye is an aperture?
the iris would be.
Yeah, what do you think a pupil is?
I'm drawing it out. I appreciate y'all very, very much, gentlemen. Thank you, brothers.
No worries. Anytime.
Yeah.
It's an absolute pleasure. Good to be here.
So in that example, there'd be diffraction occurring because you've got incoherent light passing through an aperture.
Well done. Let's walk out these things so that we can bring up the level of understanding among the people who are afraid to ask the question, what is an aperture? Right? Because people don't realize that a lens is an aperture. Your eye is an aperture.
Yeah, like a tool. That's where people, it's interesting when they say they've seen the curvature of the Earth, and they can't trust it, and they can trust it, and you'd have to use a tool. Well, that's what your eye is. Your eye is in their worldview, a perfect tool mastered through generations of evolution to it's like
Evolution.
it kind of highlights they don't understand. Well, I said evolution.
And
Why
you
are we
walk
talking
out
about this
the
again?
idea.
Are we talking about
So you
apertures?
walk out. So you walk out the idea of tools that have apertures. A sextant has an aperture. Telescope, aperture. Camera, aperture. Anything, again, as you all were saying, that allows light to pass through it, aperture. Correct?
Yeah, I mean that's the main definition. There's a couple other side definitions like I don't know, something with like chimney sweeping or something like that. Like
No,
how much
I get that,
smoke
but
goes through.
is there a reason we're discussing
Yeah,
it?
but if you just want to do it,
Why are
if you
we
just want to put
discussing
it
it?
simply, it's just a hole. Yeah, it's
In
just
it,
a
but
hole
why?
that light
Why
can
are we
pass through.
discussing this? We covered this. Why? It's a hole. Okay. Why are we covering it? Is there a reason
Oh,
behind this?
Killian had a questions about what that he didn't know what the word aperture was.
No. Let's be clear here, right? I asked the question within the confines of the conversation in order for us to fully walk out what an aperture is, so everybody here understands when we talk about aperture, i.e., what is the height of the aperture above the surface that's taking a picture of whatever it is we're looking at. These are terms that we should understand if we're going to, in fact, talk about it. That's all. Thanks.
Okay, that's good, but we weren't though at that particular point, which is why I got confused. But fine. Okay.
Oh no, it was my fault. I think someone asked what the discussion was about with that aioli, and I said it was about aperture in the Jeranism Netflix hit.
Okay, so we're back there.
And
Does he want to ask his question then?
exactly, he came back, was afraid to speak up, so I spoke up on his behalf
I
because
see.
apparently he might, but not now.
He wants to talk about the holes in Jeran pseudoscience. I mean, fine.
Well, no, there was a few in here today that were all together that were just basically wouldn't let it go. Yeah, it claimed curvature, but couldn't give us any details of what they did, couldn't give us the distances between the boards, and in fact didn't even know what an aperture was and what occurred when light passes through one.
I'm sure you had to be there. Great. Okay.
Just the usual standard of argument we get in here. What did we have today? We had that. We had the Red Bull jump. Was about it actually, and that went for about 6 hours.
Okay. Fun.
Lots of hand wave dismissals.
We all got some questions lined up.
Well, we do have a few new people in here, but no one's speaking up at the moment.
We'll be going live in about 20 minutes. So first and foremost, please don't swear if you do pipe up with a question. Other than that, well, that's it. Just don't swear.
And
For
that's
last discussion, please abide by the terms of Discord and YouTube.
that was just it. The whole idea of the aperture coming up was just giving some foundation to start a conversation or something to push forward on, because silence is silence.
No, I get it. You were put in a dude's position, so it could be understood in terms of what he was asking, but it's never going to progress in terms of we know why he's asking it. But fair enough for trying.
I got a question. How many years of globe abuse does it take before you'll finally walk away from it?
I mean, when you say walk away from it? What's it that I'm walking away from?
The abusive relationship. As a glober, I consider it an abusive relationship. I'm just saying, how intimate do you need to be with the globe to actually question it before you're ready to walk away? Do you need to interrogate the globe first? Or because I don't see people coming in and waking up without a fight. So I'm just wondering how much abuse, globe abuse, do they need before they're ready to wake up?
We covered this yesterday, actually. Stockholm syndrome. You know what that is?
Yep, that's it. I mean, is there any data on Stockholm syndrome? How much is how much is too much?
Well, you're saying it's an abusive relationship, and Stockholm syndrome is the defending of the abuser to the point where it's done even to the abused party's detriment. The other day, we had people coming in, and it wasn't globe, it was ether, but at the point that their guru, in this case Whitsit's, shown to be lying, they'd rather say that they're stupid. Literally, one said, "I must be retarded," when it's glaringly obvious that there's a lie on the table, because they'd rather say I'm stupid or I'm retarded in that case than accept the lie of the guru. Well, that's Stockholm syndrome. They're so used to, like I say, it's not globe, it's ether, but in that case, the lies that are insidious and consistent, so a lot of S's, then you get used to it and then you start defending the abuser. That's just how Stockholm syndrome works. Well, you're describing the exact same thing for the globe. Go to the globe gurus and ask them why this doesn't work, and they give you another lie. You're saying, how long can that continue? Well, unfortunately, when you reach that point, that's why we have what we call anti-flat earthers. They want to defend the lies. Sad, really. To the point where they'll deny the original rhetoric. They'll deny original globe rhetoric in favour of denouncing us and what we say in the face of their original rhetoric. So something that the globe needs, they'll literally relinquish because we're saying otherwise. It's nuts. But that's insanity for you. It doesn't affect me anymore.
It's batshit crazy, and they're the most staunch defenders of it. I think it's very ironic. And they're the most abusive to us as well.
Same applies to us, though. You could say the same about our relationship with the anti-flat earthers, right?
Well,
How is that the same?
Well, I'll expand on it. Right, so on my show, I occasionally describe the two routes that you can take if you just arrived at my show, which is highly unlikely. Very few newbies just land on my show. But for the sake of this discussion, you get there and you find out elevation angles with respect to a plane, and that's what creates the maps. Okay, so you learn in one show that Earth's measured flat. Well, at that point, you've got a fork in the road. You can either get on with your day. That's to say that in this scenario for you, you don't have to tolerate the abuse of anti-flat earthers. Just get on with your day. You know the score. You know Earth's measured flat. You can just get on with your life. Nothing changes. It was always measured flat. That's what produces the navigation systems and all of the building and the navigating and the flying and the sailing. It's all done flat, and so are the maps and the systems of the maps. But that doesn't mean you need to go on with your evangelical flat earth tip and convert a load of people. You can just get on with your life. Get on with your job. It doesn't change anything. It was always flat to begin with and still is. Yeah? Or the other fork in the road, learn everything that we've covered for the last 10 years so that you're well equipped to debate anti-flat earthers, the people who want to get engaged in these discussions, the abused as you're describing them. But then you need to know every single detail of their position and how to undo it. And that can take quite a lot of time and effort. So if you're a sucker for that and you want to tell people how they're wrong and debate with these people, then you've got to expect a bit of abuse. You can't really moan about it. But on the other hand, you don't have to tolerate it. You can just turn your back on them, get on with your day. You know it's flat. You know it's measured flat. There's no uncertainty about it. Who cares what anyone else thinks? Everyone's entitled to their belief. Every day you'll meet globe believers. They're not the flat earthers that give you the abuse, though, when in your day-to-day life and when they tell you about how it's globy. Don't even have to give a wry smile. You don't have to be rude. You know it's not. That's it.
Well, we now have extra groups to contend with, yeah, because we originally started off, it was globe and flat, and then we had globe and flat and ether, and now we've got flat earthers also claiming true shape of the earth as globe. So we've got the globe plus the ether plus the globe flat earthers. Crazy.
Don't even start with that ether.
It's very triggering for Neil.
Sorry, Neil.
This is so triggering. The ether thing is so triggering for some of my panel that they want to elevate it to the lofty realms of being covered in the book I'm writing. I'm like, this is some sideline from a community within a community, some complete garbage, a poison within a very small flat earth community. Yet we've got a globe that's peddled throughout 98% of the surface of the earth that we dwell atop. There's a one world religion. No, it's like, this isn't a big deal. It's just poison that we need to root out from our own community.
So I'm saying now we got another one. Globe-shaped flat earth.
Yeah, I heard about that a couple of days ago. It's been seeded into the community by people like Dave Weiss. Quote, it just could be a really big ball. I'm paraphrasing, actually. It wasn't a direct quote. Nevertheless, then I heard some of I think it's called Pirate Gaming, several million subscribers, talking about this merge between Super Ball and Flat Earth, and then you end up with this Super Ball Flat Earth conspiracy, and you're like, yep, that's what the very shilly counterparts on Dave Weiss's side of this argument with Whitsit and Jaron and all the rest of these numpties that are on Netflix, so we're being asked about Aperture. These are the people discrediting us. They're supposed to be our gurus and leaders. They're the biggest amongst us. They're just doing nothing but discrediting us. The really big ball Dave, right? He's supposed to be Flat Earth Dave. Nope, really big ball. Could be.
Yeah, I think the claim was, well, it's not a perfect sphere, and we can't really give it shape, so it's a globe, a glob.
Nuts, innit? You want to control the opposition.
Horizontals, never a perfect sphere.
Go on, Rondek.
I'm saying horizontals, never a perfect sphere, is it?
No.
Oh, dearie me.
You can fantasize all you like about it being a bigger ball. The ball that originates at 3959 in heliocentric paradigm is derived from the flat Earth measurements. So the minimums for things like Polaris becomes the equator. That's set in stone. It can't be altered. So to assert that it's just a really big ball, well, then it won't reverse engineers into the angles that the stars are measured with. That's why the ball has a radius of 3959 in the heliocentric paradigm. It has to match the flat Earth measurements that made the ball. Well, there are no flat Earth measurements making a really big ball. Stupid nonsense. Presumably, so that they can lead us as the opposition back onto the original ball that you came off. So we'd be foolish to think there aren't shills amongst us. There are.
And isn't that why QE wrote the Black Swan the way he did at the end, where Earth is not a ball, because once you falsify that radius, it falsifies everything else?
Yep, set in stone. Can't have anything other than radius value 3959. It's the basis for the latitude and longitude system. So you change that and the maps don't work anymore.
Who was the first guy that said, at best, you've disproved the radius?
Mr. Sensible.
Oh, he didn't think it through, did he, Nathan?
Change the size of the ball and you change the measurements that it's working from within the ball in the equatorial sphere. On the equatorial plane with the celestial sphere wrapped around that plane. So the angles that are projected through the Havasine conversion onto a ball you're no longer standing on if you're measuring the angles in hell on a plane can only function if those angles come from the plane, that's the equatorial plane, through the globe that doesn't exist and you're not standing on measuring these angles, through the position that you create with Havasine conversion, through to the celestial sphere. That's how it functions. You alter the size of the ball, that doesn't function anymore. It's the only way you can convince people that the ball has some purpose in this. Now, the ball has no function beyond its latitude measurements that are glorified positions on a protractor, because you're not utilizing the ball surface if it's alleged to be the surface. You're inside it measuring angles off a flat plane. You're just converting those angles through a surface that you're not standing on, but they must match to make it seem in some semblance of fashion to match with the world that you have when you measure these angles. You can't make it bigger. Precisely, Neil. That is why the black swan is arranged in the way it is. Every distance to horizon must be no more than 1.2 times the square root of the observer's height feet, because that is the precise value of the sphere edge at radius 3959. Those measurements are set in stone. They come from a flat Earth, but they only work in that one ball fashion. Hi, Greg. Essential.
Hello. Good afternoon.
I don't know if you've done this before, Craig. We're in politics server today, so we've got to be particularly polite with our guests here. I'm sure you would have been anyway.
Yep, it's Friday. Fantastic Friday.
Have you done one before? Have you been here before on a Friday?
Yeah, don't really get a chance to. I don't like to speak sometimes because I might get called away any second. So.
No, fair enough.
But yeah, well, should be in for a good, some interesting conversations.
Hopefully so. As I say, we're starting about 8 minutes, so I might as well do my little preamble just before we go live. So, for any of you who aren't regulars, we are here as guests because Earth is measured flat for all claimants in this formerly called a debate. It isn't. Everybody who measures anything to do with Earth will measure Earth flat. That is including but not limited to the expression of a ball faith based on those measurements. And the ball faith, the globe, is based on flat Earth measurements. So the genesis of all claims for Earth and its shape, if you believe you are on a ball, have their origins in flat Earth measurements. So all roads lead to a flat Earth. We want everybody who is a flat earther, or a globe earther for that matter, to understand this fact, because it is indisputable. That's it. Please don't swear when the live show starts. That's it. I'm done. That's my preamble.
And pop yourself on mute if you're not talking.
It's been that, like we said the other day, it's been like that for thousands of years. I mean, the globe is flat, and the Greeks all knew that. They measured angles using sticks and shadows. I mean, it must be flat for horizontal shadows. And that guy Alberuni, he knew the globe was flat. He even measured the height of a mountain like that. And when I was a sailor navigating the sea, the surface of the ocean appeared very flat to me. Triangulation on the surface of Earth, all achievable without one single use of a curve.
Awesome.
Bars.
I hope you're getting a poetry book together one deck. You've got some good ones now. Keep them coming, mate.
3959.
That's a good name for a poem. 3959.
Be the price of my book.
That's good fun, yeah.
Have you got a book, Nathan?
Not yet. It's being finished off just as we speak.
Ah, good stuff. Looking forward to seeing it.
Me too. It's been a very, very, very long production process. It's been ripped up and rewritten about 2 or 3 times. It's gone from
like you say, it's going to be. Sorry, Nathan, go on.
No, you go ahead.
I'm just saying, like you said the other day, we picked on you. Correct. I mean, it's got to. You're going to have. It's going to be critiqued, isn't it? You know what I mean? It's got to be perfect. Every comma, every punctuation, every word. It's got to be perfect.
Yeah, but the content's completely changed. So it went from a story of flat Earth debate and housekeeping and my journey through YouTube to being a reference book for flat Earth, with all the different subject matters being covered and dissected. in excruciating detail with heavy references and citations from exceptionally good sources, all listed separately and utilized within the text and throughout the text, contextually correct, so it reads nicely. It's been a massive undertaking, but what will be produced at the end is exactly as I just described, a flat earth reference book. That is to say, a book that you can take off the shelf and go, how do I deal with gravity? Flick, 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 flick. And then it's listing all of the arguments and positions and all of the counter positions in a text that's readable like a book, because it's come from origins, that is to say the first draft, if you will, is me just talking about what we do and how we do it and examples of that. So that's been molded into things that can have specific citations and references at the back of the book with very clear examples and descriptions of examples. There's a bit of humor in there. It is actually still like a book, as in you'd read it from start to end. It's not like you're just going to pick out sections for like a medical journal or something. It's not like that. It's a read-worthy book as well, which is probably why it's taken such a long time. The getting it to be a nice book to read took about a year or maybe a bit less, and then it's taken the last 8 months to turn that into something that becomes a flat earth reference. So you've got the combined joy of being able to say, no, you'll enjoy reading this because it is still a story of how the progression of the quote unquote debate has occurred, but it isn't a debate, and here's why. Here's all of the different points, and they're bullet marked now and still capable of having a subheading through the housekeeping questions that was the original format for the book. So there's a lot crammed into it, rather than writing something about how I've progressed through the story and then story of flat earth, that is, and then adding to that with a whole load of references and arguments. It's like the whole thing's been mushed together into, like I say, an exceptional good reference book for people who want to just go, right, I'll give this to my relative and they'll know the ins and outs of everything to do with the subject by the end of the book. And if they are unsure about anything specific, they can go to the reference section and see exactly how NASA described it, for example. Yeah, it'll be something to be extremely proud of. And when you're hearing me punting it with true passion, because I'm sure I've heard people out on the circuit when they've got a book, and they're like, yeah, buy my book. I'll be doing that too, but you'll hear that I'm truly, truly passionate about the effort and quality of the material I'm actually punting. You know, I am already very, very proud of what we've achieved with the book. Not to harp on about it, which I am.
It's going to be great.
Yeah, it is already. It just needs finishing off. We're nearly there. By Christmas, I hope it's out. I really, really want it to come out by Christmas. Whether or not it does is just one of those. It's being edited to standards, not to time, unfortunately. But you know, the original purpose of it was to earn an extra revenue stream. Now, while that will be the case and would be the case for a lot longer, given the quality of it as a reference book, rather than my story at this point in time, which has a limited lifespan. But it won't have a limited lifespan. It will remain on the shelves for as long as I'm alive, hopefully, and generate a revenue stream, because it will always generate interest, which is good. So it's definitely been worth the extra effort, and it will be something that you can say to next man, you should buy this book. You'll learn about why Earth's flat.
No, you could tell them yourself on Good Morning America.
Yeehaw!
Good afternoon.
Yo.
Hello, hello.
Hello. Got a few globe believers, I would assume, in this Discord server today on a Friday. So I'm going to ask a housekeeping question. Why not? Any evidence you can acquire an elevation angle measurement from a curved baseline?
Can't get an angle from a curve.
The basis of the maps, basis of the charts, the basis of the Cartesian grid used to navigate. The systems that we expanded the known territories were all done with these elevation angles, taken from a flat plane. The globe itself was created with these flat Earth angles of elevation. Earth's measured flat. As I said in my preamble, that's the reason we're in politics on a Friday. stony silences might be a thing that happens while we're waiting for somebody to pipe up with a question. We will see how we get on. As always, there's often fireworks and heated discussions on a Friday, but there's often long, protracted periods of silences once the Discord panel figure out that we're live, which we now are, which is happy days around. I've got several new videos, one that's just literally been released before this live show went out. So I timed it so that it would end and promote the idea of coming to this live stream as soon as you'd seen that video. So hopefully there's a few people who've toddled along to my live stream after watching that. Hope you all enjoyed it. Took a long time to edit, about 6 hours.
A lot of these globe believers, though, they openly admit that you're using a sextant and you're using elevation angle measurements to measure latitude and to navigate the surface of Earth without, well, I'm going to say without realizing that, that's got nothing to do with curvature. We're using the surface of Earth. It's an elevation angle, yeah, horizontal, nothing to do with curvature. So obviously, we're not using a curved surface of Earth when we're using the elevation angle with the sea sextant. We're using a flat horizontal baseline. Got nothing to do with curvature whatsoever. They need to get this disconnect in the head. They can't comprehend what we're saying, apparently. And I can't understand why that is.
My favourite part of Friday is just waiting for somebody who can't comprehend it to come along and start telling me that, no, we can do all this with the globe. And then taking them to the latitude and longitude grid itself. It's like, you're never going to change how these systems function. And in my humble opinion, this is the route to get people to understand and appreciate the nature of Earth. That is to say, a flat Earth as their actual reality. And I'll tell you why. People are scared of something that's different or new or unfamiliar. People don't like that. They like the familiar, they like routine. So if you can show them that nothing changes, there's nothing to be scared of because nothing's going to change. It was always dealt with flat. It was always measured flat. It still is measured flat. There's nothing to be scared of. Because people say, one of their first questions I hear is, what difference will it make? How does it affect me? Well, if you can say, it doesn't. Nothing will change. The Earth was always flat. It was always measured flat. The globe itself came from those measurements. So while you're entitled to your belief, if you understand the origins of your globe, you understand that they came from the measurements that we still use to this day, because that's how Earth is. So nothing will change. The Earth does not unfold when you appreciate that measurements of the Earth itself, flat, have created this religious belief in the surface being spherical. It isn't. And you need flat Earth measurements to make that paradigm for people to believe in. But if you have an appreciation of that, you'll then realise why all the maps are flat, why all the systems are flat, why all the angle measurements are flat, why we flatten the turf before we build on it. You realise that it's nothing's changing. It's always been dealt with that way. Earth's always been treated as a flat plane because it is one.
Yeah, but why would they do that? All right, Earth is flat, but why would they make it a globe? It makes no sense, Nathan.
It's appeal to motive fallacy. I don't care. I can show you how they made it. Why is an appeal to motivation fallacy in this subject? It's just matters of fact. What you see on screen now is the way you create the Mercator projection. It's a visualization of projecting the points that the globe would give you on a flat map with a Cartesian grid. Okay. Well, if you understand that, and you understand that the globe itself has latitude and longitude on it, because the angles measured off a plane created them, and can be converted from an equatorial plane through the globe, effectively meaning the globe is nothing more than a protractor, you can understand how the origins of the flat maps are projections of globes that have come from flat Earth angle measurements. So there's this like convoluted transition to make it seem like this on screen now. Well, it's just this. It's just globe projected onto a flat map. That's all it is. Like, well, how did the globe get created? Oh, with flat Earth angle measurements to the stars that are projected on points, converted mathematically. Like, but when we actually utilize any of these systems, even the orbital systems themselves, we're describing ourselves as being inside the globe because the globe's nothing more than a protractor.
I've never heard anybody explain how curvature is measured from the opponent's side. No, I know, but they can't. They claim it is, but they can't. When as soon as they open their mouth, they're talking about flat Earth elevation angle measurements.
Yeah, including and but not limited to the claim that we have calculable Earth curvature derived from flat Earth measurements. Also, yes, Wandek. Surface level, eye level, parallel, required to be measured to infer that there's an Earth curve calculable below the surface level. There isn't. Earth's measured flat for every instance.
And if you're so confident that you are actually measuring the curvature of Earth, why in the next breath do you say you're measuring it locally flat? I mean, that doesn't make sense.
They're calculating curve, and to do so, they need to measure it flat.
Oh dear.
So yeah, hopefully our time will be fun. We stay here for about an hour live, so like I say, if there are any questions from any of you in the Discord server, there's an abundance of you, then feel free, now is the time to ask. If not, welcome all of you to Flat Earth. Now you know, if you've been paying attention, where your globe religion came from, if you're a globe believer, or that you don't need to concern yourself with debating people. You can get on with your day now. Not necessarily great for my YouTube subs, but you don't need us once you know Earth's measured flat, and it always was, will be, and that's all there is to it.
Still didn't answer my question. Why would they do something like that? What's the purpose of making it a globe?
I already addressed this too. It's an appeal to motivation fallacy when you can show how the globe is created. I've got it on screen for you as well as my audience right now, Neil. The description from the centre isn't you measuring the surface and you saying, well, why did they do this? Who cares? Measured flat. Doesn't matter why they created the globe. You can ponder that if you want to. But your appeal to motivation fallacy is almost like saying, you know, your cheating wife's been caught red-handed and you want to find out why she did it. No. Here's the lie. Earth's measured flat. Why would they lie? I don't care.
All right, they got a diagram of a car. They make a car. The reason why they make a car is to get from point A to point E faster. You're telling me that they just constructed this globe out of flat Earth elevation angle measurements for no reason?
No, I know the reason, but now that I've laboured the point that it's not really relevant, I could give you the history of it. I could explain how the church needed better predictive capabilities for the lights in the sky. They needed to tell the congregation when Easter was accurately. And you have out-of-the-box thinking in terms of Earth's sphericity put into a elliptical orbital motion by Kepler. Well, that elliptical orbital motion is an attempt to mathematically describe with better accuracy the positional data of the light tracked with flat Earth elevation angles in the sky. Well, that out-of-the-box thinking puts you on an asymptotically flat plane with you in the centre of hell, describing Earth as a sphere derived from flat Earth measurements moving around the sun. To try and square the circle of... I can never remember the name of these. Epicycles. Got it. Yes. And turning them into... Got the new version of it now. Retrograde motion. I'll get there. I'm a bit rusty.
You're doing pretty good, Nathan.
Pretty good. I'm getting there. Well, that purpose is serves only one outcome, to know better when Easter will be in that particular instance, with better predictive capabilities. But out-of-the-box thinking that puts you in hell, moving around the sun, aka heliocentric, with Keplerian orbital ellipses, doesn't mean that the maths that's utilised to create that out-of-the-box thinking puts you on the surface of the protractor, claimed to be the surface of the surface that you're not measuring, in this cyclical motion on a asymptotically flat plane anyway. It's like even that description of orbital motion requires a flat plane. All roads lead to flat Earth. Why is irrelevant. Even if you know that they're just trying to better predict when Easter will be. Who cares? Does it matter?
Exactly. It doesn't matter because we know for a fact how it's measured. It's measured flat. Elevation angles to and from Polaris to get the latitude. So you can't get out of that fact. Like you said, Nathan, it's been done like this for thousands of years. The Greeks all knew it. Apparently.
But why did you cheat on me? I loved you. We had such a beautiful marriage.
So it doesn't matter why they've lied, because that does not alter the facts of the matter, how it's measured. It doesn't alter it. It's got nothing to do with it, how
But
it's
also,
physically measured.
the other question we get asked, well, what difference does it make? How does it matter? Okay, if Earth's flat, what does it matter? Well, it doesn't. It won't affect you in the slightest. There's nothing to be scared of. It was always flat to begin with. The way we've expanded our territories was flat with angles to the stars. The way we've made the models to navigate the territory we expanded flat was with angles to the stars. The Cartesian grid we now commonly use in GPS has sod all to do with the globe, beyond the projected distortion created from a globe that was created from flat Earth elevation angles to the stars. So now you know, Earth's measured flat. You can create a globe with those measurements, and then you can project that globe onto a flat map so it's useful again. But Earth is ultimately utilised, functionally measured, and practically applied in all respects as a flat plane. How you
Good
know?
morning.
Morning, Ted.
I can't
Morning,
believe what
Ted.
I'm here. Good morning, Mundek, Neil. I can't believe what I'm hearing. One day removed from the AI presentation. Two things. Mundek, you said, how did they get their curve measurements? You want to repeat that?
Yeah, they used elevation angle measurements.
No, that's not how they got their curve measurements. Because elevation angle will have to prove a flat 180 baseline.
Yeah, they measured it flat, and then they did some mathematics to create the globe. That's what they did.
No, they did spherical triangle, which is an oxymoron. Triangles has 3 straight sides. But it's the concave inner surface of the celestial sphere, which is imaginary, and anyone can walk outside tonight and look at the horizon from east to west and see the arc of a protractor resembled in the way the stars move against the sky. So their spherical measurement, which became their Earth, is perspective measurement using what they call spherical triangle, the PZX, and the Haversine formula. It's never regarding the Earth's surface. So yes, they measured curvature, but it's perspective. It's not even real because the stars are moving straight, as we know by the astronomical rectangle as shown yesterday in the presentation. You got to have the square with the 490s. So the only curvature they got is perspective curvature. And then they reify you on the arc of the protractor. Second, it does matter because, as you said, Nathan, once you know someone is lying, you cut them off from your life. So once you find out they're lying about the nature of this earth, yeah, maybe the reason is not known, or there could be many reasons, but it does make a difference because now you know that the entities that are still pushing this lie cannot be trusted. And so it matters so that you don't get fooled by them on other matters. It's called discernment.
Just so we're all clear about which show we're talking about. So at the end of the live response to a shorts video by Pirate Gaming, I think that's the right name, Pence did an extended presentation based on a back and forth he had with ChatGPT or similar. So check that out. It's the end of yesterday's live stream, which is titled Response to Pirate Gaming.
Yeah, it wasn't ChatGPT. It's Perplexity AI. It's another AI engine.
Sure, but what you go through and cover based on what is scrapable from the common knowledge of man, in this case, whatever it's called, AI, is what's being presented. And it's very, very enlightening because there is no arguing with the reality that we measure and how that is utilized and projected through Haversine conversion. So take heed, and it's worthy of critique from One Deck, sorry. Because they don't take any measurements of an Earth curve. They can produce Earth curve, if you want to call it that, as a glorified protractor through the have a sign conversion, as 10th Man just detailed, and went through in more detail yesterday. So yeah, check it out. It's yesterday's show. It's at Pirate Gaming show.
What
live
is
show.
Haberstein conversion?
They measure, just hang on for a second there, Neil, please. They measure sky curve due to perspective, and then they say that's what you live on.
It's on screen now.
And then just
Like
to
to-
jump in for quick, isn't this the whole thing about spherical excess that they claim?
Do you see the angle there in that picture Nathan's got up right
no,
now?
he's
The
in
orange
Discord.
line?
No, he doesn't.
Okay. Well, just imagine an angle emanating from the vertex where the two lines meet, where they're actually touching. That's where the navigator with the sextant would be. It widens as it extends and gets wider and wider and wider, but the angle never changes. So you can have a correct angle measurement at any point of those two lines, even when they get wider apart than from the beginning, where it was originally originating from. And what they've done is they've taken the perspective view of the sky, as well, he'll see it another time, and they put you on that, and the angles retain their accuracy.
Exactly. We were
They
covering
must.
this just by coincidence, we were covering this in the pre-show for the reason it can't be a bigger ball. The projected points of the angles don't change as you project them through the ball, as you can see on screen now. And the reason the line continues is because that line, I'll just highlight it with my mouse, continues out to the celestial sphere. But the ball must have a radius value of 3959 in this bastardization of angle measurements off a plane, so that they correspond with the angle that actually gets measured off the plane to the light in the sky, which is on the celestial sphere. So you're creating a glorified protractor, calling it a globe Earth, so that the angles at 3959 radius will correspond with the flat Earth measurements that you will use when you measure stars.
I think it's 10th. I wrote something down the other month, and I think it just sort of fits in with what you're saying. It's only short, but it was sort of, it blows my mind how they hijacked the perspective of the celestial dome heavens to then bring down perspective of a curved dome down to a flat Earth. Then to create a globe model that doesn't account for perspective and replaces perspective with curvature when perspective was used in the first instance to create the non-perspective Earth curve model.
I like it.
That's pretty accurate there. No, that was good. I followed along with that. That was very accurate.
Yeah, I like it.
Other than the word model, paradigm.
In the reading I've done, or readings, the Greeks fantasized, thought, evaluated when they looked at the moon, the sun, and said, I wonder if we're a sphere like that, a circle like that, a globe like that. And so obviously ideas have consequences. And so when they have those ideas, then they're saying, well, obviously we got to be a big globe because it looks flat, locally flat. So let's put a stick in the ground and get an elevation angle with a shadow. And that could work if the Earth is curving. So let's assume we are on a globe, and the difference between Eratosthenes' well, Cyan, and the other place is because the Earth is curving.
Alexandria.
Okay. So this is how they formulated the whole thing, and eventually books were written, and people who wanted that to be their reality need to prove it somehow. So what do? They look at the sky and they see the perspective view of the celestial sphere, which is imaginary, and say, that's what we live on, the arc of that protractor. So in using a sextant, which is an angle measuring device, which needs a 180 baseline, and you go to 0 to 90, right there should tell you how they've hijacked everything. There is no 90, no perpendicular, no vertical meeting a horizontal on a globe curved surface. And yet that's the process of celestial navigation, because it's flat. And it's the sky that they're reifying as the arc of the protractor. And so that's why Andrew Thomas Young has to say clearly that all his refraction studies were done on a plane. But Earth is not flat, so we need some considerations in geometry because we have to make it work on a globe. And there you go. That's what they do.
Pretty clever how they did it, though.
Well, it's a way of taking someone who's got a sextant, telling them it's a 180 to a 90, and then at the same time mesmerizing that guy and making him think he's not on the 180. And after the local horizon, which is the limitation of his eyesight, disappears, Earth is dropping, curving. Well, that can't work because, as yesterday's presentation showed, 75-degree co-altitude would give you 4,500 miles, nautical miles, a flat plane that the two zeniths, the one of the sun creating the GP, the one of the observer, the 90, cannot be diverging. You need a rectangle. You need the astronomical rectangle. So it's got to be flat. The sky distance, the zenith distance in the sky with the inverted triangle base, is the same as the one on the surface of the Earth, as AI explained.
I think it's amazing. Yeah, they made us look up at the sky and then they pulled out the flat rug from beneath our feet.
Yeah. But I think it does matter that they lie because there has to be a purpose for the continuation of the lie once they found out it wasn't a globe versus when they thought it was and they didn't have the P900 to see why the mast of the ship was the last thing disappearing. But then when they zoom in, they see the hull in the water. It's the limitation of the eyes. So they couldn't prove it that way. So it's just these little things due to perspective that can assist someone to think the Earth is actually curving because bottom up this obstruction happens on everything on a flat plane because you're running out of space. As the further you go out, the compression against the deck. But the sky is wide open, so you see those things last. They don't disappear. That's why it takes all the way to the edge of the horizon before you see a cloud touching the sea. It's not touching the sea.
Yeah, that's what they're calling the curve of the sky, and that's what that effect that you're calling perspective is what creates the celestial sphere. Like you say, the clouds above your head are the same altitude in that example as the clouds that are touching the horizon, and you can easily imagine visually how that would create a protractor around you. Well, that's the arc that you take the measurements of the angles to the stars with. You can then project those points through Haversine, as Neil was asking, onto that protractor at radius 3959 based on a polaris-centric measurement that gives you a minimum at the equator. That would be the minimum that you can see that star with. That creates the latitude and longitude grid for the north. That's half of the celestial sphere. You then do the same for an inferred point in the south, and you've got a full sphere wrapped around a flat plane for the north and an antipodal flat plane for the south. That is the celestial sphere model. If you wrap a globe around it, you're taking angles from within the globe that's basically completely surplus to requirements. But that's how you'd create it to make it look like there's a globe inside of on the outside of a flat plane that you're actually measuring these angles with, and created the entire system to begin with a parallel sky to the ground that you see with a perspective view. Good summary, 10th. Someone's off mute in Discord. Did someone want to add something?
You say this?
I just wanted to add before we get too far away from the comment that, as he mentioned, the limitation to our eyesight when he brought up zooming back into the ship that was gone. When he says that limitation of our eyesight, myself, I completely understand what he says, and I'm sure most people listening do. But I find for some reason when we try to explain to the Globers, you can't see the Eiffel Tower because you can't see forever. They don't comprehend that their sight has a limit. It's insane.
Okay.
Sorry, go ahead.
It's cool that you understand this, but by the same token, it's not your positive claim to defend, right? You don't have to explain limitations of view with perspective. I know we've been talking about it with the stars, which is slightly different, but nevertheless, It's their responsibility to prove that there's a physical geometric sphere edge horizon debunked in 2020 by the Black Swan. It's not your responsibility to explain why we've got a horizon. It really isn't. Not your burden.
There's an important part to that question. Who's that person that asked that question? That was a good question or statement.
Flatman Canal, is that right, Smith?
Yeah, Flatman Cannon, yeah.
Okay, so there's a psychology that I've picked up on all these years debating the subject, and Nathan's well aware of it, as so are many people who are on the show now. The psychology is when you're born, from kindergarten all the way to meeting you, me, or Nathan, and we're talking about the subject, all you've seen is everything reifying a globe, all the space movies, the globe in the classroom, everything. Okay, so then all of a sudden, they put a tramp stamp underneath flat earth videos on YouTube, get an act of Congress to say, these people are crazy. This is an archaic view. This is what the old timers thought, but we've come a long way. They didn't have science back then. So they frame it in that way. Now that sets up our opponent. It could be our cousin, right? It could be someone you're married to in a psychological state that we are crazy and we don't have science. Okay. So now when you're talking to them, realize this is how they're looking at you. So when you say what you said about the Eiffel Tower, they understand that. They understand the mountain looks, you can hold your thumb in front of a mountain and it covers the whole mountain. As you drive towards the mountain is huge and your thumb can't even cover a boulder. They know this. The problem is the whole argument. They are conditioned to think we're nuts. So they can't stop and look at one fact built upon another fact that destroys this big lie. And it is a big lie.
Okay, well, we're about halfway through to our time in politics today, so hopefully there's a couple more questions to come.
I thought Nick would be in here asking questions. He always is.
Who?
The guy Nick.
I don't know who Nick is. Anyway, does anybody have any questions? Maybe we should appeal to the mods. They're normally the ones checking out the chat.
Yeah, Nick got removed from the server. He had done some cringe stuff. That's the guy I was talking about in the pre-show. Kept opening mod mail and blurting TOS stuff.
Oh, okay. Say no more.
That's very telling.
Anybody else?
Nathan, I have a question.
Awesome.
Yeah. Do you know the buildings in the distance? Yeah. If the Earth was the surface is curved, yeah, shouldn't the buildings in the far distance be at an angle? But in reality, they're not at an angle, are they? Because the surface of the Earth is not curved.
Okay, well, you're inventing a position that they don't take in their official rhetoric to brace against, which is fine because the principle that you're describing might well be true. I'm not saying you're wrong, but they have an assertion that Earth curve is a physical geometric sphere edge horizon below surface level at 1.2 times the square root of the observer's height above the surface level. That's flat. So they've got an official rhetoric, and we debunked it in 2020. The argument's called the Black Swan. Want me to go through it?
Yes.
Yeah, go on then, Nathan.
If the Earth was a sphere with a radius of 3959 miles, then every distance to horizon measurement can be no more than 1.2 times the square root of the observer's height in feet, as laid down in Earth curve maths. Distance to horizon in the Black Swan is beyond the limitations at 1.2 times the square root of the observer's height in feet. Therefore, the horizon is not Earth curve and the Earth is not a sphere.
Yeah, understood, Nathan.
That's it. You try and attack a position that they're not taking, they can rightly claim that you're just claiming a straw man because it's not part of their official claim. So their official claim is 1.2 times the square root of the observer's height in feet. That height comes from surface level. It's flat. Well, the eye level that you derive from surface level, that's parallel with the surface level flat, is what's needed to make this claim. So in 2024, we're saying, look, all claims lead to a flat Earth. This is no exception. You need a flat Earth to make this assertion, right? You need surface level and a height of eye level above it to infer that there's a Earth curve below surface level at 1.2 times the square root of the observer's height above surface level. You need a flat Earth to claim Earth curve. It's absurd, but true. All roads lead to a flat Earth, not just Earth curve. The globe's made with flat Earth measurements. So, like I say, if you're gonna take a positive stance against their positive claim, you need to work within the parameters of their actual official positive claim, and that's that there's an Earth curve edge at 1.2 times the square root of the observer's height in feet. That's what's in Earth curve maths. That is their claim.
So wait, you're saying that they have the edge? Because for years they were asking us about our edge.
Yeah, Neil, they're the ones with the edge. It's below the surface level that's flat that they must measure.
And speaking to that, though, I will say, and I mean, I approach this respectfully. If we are going to, in fact, unpack their model, right, their claim of it being a ball, I do think that it's fair to point out that there would be this diverging plumb line observation if, in fact, we were dealing with a ball, which we would see this tilting of buildings on the surface in order to prop up the spheroid claim. But as stated, we don't see that. Therefore, you go back to your fallback position of a level, stationary topographical plane.
Yeah, but sure. But as I'm saying, to claim the sphere that you're making this assertion outside of their official claim needs a flat plane to make the surface that you're working outside of their official claim with. So the ball that you're going to infer would have angles of buildings tilting on it. That curve that's being inferred was made with flat Earth measurements, right? Derived at 3959 in the maths. So it's outside of their claim and needs you to whistle past the flat Earth needed to make the globe to have the buildings not angling on it, if that makes sense.
Nathan, it's not even their claim. Their claim is that the GP of a star, assume that's that building in the distance, and the observer have vertical zeniths, 90s. That's the astronomical rectangle. Their claim is that zeniths do not diverge. It creates a rectangle with 4 90s, an inverted right angle triangle with the baseline in the sky, known as the zenith distance, and the right angle triangle using the sea horizon with a Mariner's sextant with the baseline on the surface of the ocean. When you put those two together, it creates a rectangle, and the zeniths do not diverge. That's their claim of how it works.
Yeah. Hope that's clear.
Well, you used the terminology earlier, and just for the audience, what is Haversine conversion?
Process of creating the globe with the angles that you take into the stars, Neil.
It puts you on the arc of the protractor. That's how they want it to work so that they can reify the globe and say you're on a surface that's curving. But they forget that in order to get the initial elevation angle measurements before you do any transformative math equations, you just view a protractor. You're on the baseline of 180 and you're looking at a sky from a perspective point of view. And if the star or sun is directly over you, it's at 90 position to you. And if it's at your eastern horizon, it's at 0. And if it's at your western horizon, it's completing the baseline as a 180 straight angle.
More serious things
A
going on.
semicircle.
My game just crashed. Very irritating.
Yo, so how does it come back around the other end?
It doesn't have to restart the graphics card, reset the whole computer. It's very irritating.
How does what come back around the other end?
My game, it won't. It's gone. It's died. It crashed.
Oh, the sun.
No,
dude.
no. What are you talking about?
Talking about the sun.
The sun goes away from you, and it moves 15 degrees an hour. So you'll see it again when it's daytime for you. But you're on a flat plane. That's how it works.
Yeah, but it sets at one end and it rises at the other. So it
Hang
means it
on,
goes
hang
in a
on, hang on.
360.
Have you been listening? Have you been listening? It sets. Do clouds set? Do they touch the ocean?
No, but you said it was 180 when it's 360.
Excuse me. I want you to use critical thinking. Perspective view of the sun moving straight overhead would be directly over your head when it's at noontime at 90. Anything prior to that has a 0 to 90 arc. Anything after that has a 90 to the 180. You're on a baseline of 180.
But when it gets to 180 and then the next day it starts out at 0, but it doesn't go back over your head again.
It's
So it means
moving
that it goes the
away
other
from
half.
Hold on,
you.
10th. Go on, horse.
Yeah, it just doesn't really make any sense, dude.
Is that it?
I don't understand why he doesn't understand that the sun is moving.
Saying it's 180, but it's 360.
I'll start. Both you stop, right? I left to silence, gave you way. You didn't say anything. Now 10th's talking and you're talking through him.
Thank
you. You want me to make 10th man yield again? Have you got something further to add? I'll just make the guy who's talking and you've interrupted stop so you can obviously, have your time. Go ahead. Horse.
What?
This is your time to talk. Go ahead.
It's just 360, it's not 180, That's what I want to say.
Okay, that's a baseless assertion. How do you prove that? What measurements is that assertion based on?
Well, the way he was saying it was like a protractor and it's more like a compass.
Did you hear my question?
Yeah, I can't really prove it with numbers. I'm just proving it with the way you
Stop
see it.
talking. When I say what measurements is this baseless assertion to be based on, you say I can't prove it with numbers, correct?
Yeah, that's what I said.
Jolly good. Do you want to sit down a second while I just summarise this endless garbage that we seem to have from globe-believing numpties? Baseless assertions that things that are in the distance... Please mute him. Things that are in the distance... Seems like he's still talking through me while I summarise his loss. That was a baseless assertion. You don't have any measurements to back it. Every time I'm summarising, he's talking through me. Moderators, it's the third time I'm asking you. Can you mute him? Just got audio chaos. I'm not getting to summarise my point, and he did it 10th twice. As I start summarising, there we go again. There we go again. He didn't have anything. He repeated his baseless assertion that it's 364 times. Finally. No, that was a baseless assertion that's not based on any measurements, as you boldly admitted. I can't shut the hell up while I take apart your garbage. No, we have, as described at great length, measurements of elevation angles to the stars. Now, that was broken down by 10th with descriptions of the clouds. Now, above everybody's head always, and if you look at the ones that are near the horizon, they're not smashing into the ground. Yeah? That's a perspective view. Now, that's simultaneously the angle measurements of the stars. We measure them with elevation angles. That's angles off a flat plane. So you saying, no. They hit the ground, go underneath us and come up the... No. Unless you can give measurements to back that garbage, it's just a baseless assertion. Now, when I say Earth is measured flat, I give you elevation angles that create the maps, that create the Cartesian grid systems, that are used in navigation. They're measurements. It just goes underneath 360 like. What measurements? I haven't got any. So shut up. You've got nothing. We've got measurements of a flat Earth. Horse. You may respond. server mods, that's you to take him off server mute. My God.
Sorry, Nathan. I was just tied up with something quickly.
Horse. We have measurements, elevation angles. They describe a perspective view and the angle measurements to the stars that aren't crashing into the horizon at 0. Those are measurements of a flat Earth. You made a basis assertion that they go underneath, 360 like. No. There are no measurements to back that baseless assertion. Earth is measured flat, with angles to stars. Clear? Is that clear, horse? This is what we get, ladies and gentlemen, when someone has their ass handed to them. It's only him chanting through 10th, or it's only him chanting through me. When he gets the concise summary of how he's had his ass handed to him with his stupid assertion, like now, he chooses to talk when I'm talking. So they're not measurements of 360. 180 to the horizon, the angles with respect to a parallel plane and sky and a perspective view described to you by 10th. They're not crashing into the ground at 0. You made a basis assertion, horse, 360. No measurements to back it, self-confessed. Do you understand we measure the Earth flat with these elevation angles? Not 360 as per your basis assertion. It's been handed back to you. Defeated. Are we clear, horse?
Yo, can you hear me?
Just mute this asshole.
Yo, I'm just asking if you can
What if you can be heard when you're yammering through me and being told off and having to be server muted so you don't yammer through me? You think you need to be clarifying if we can frickin' hear you? Not a 360 all the way around. You made a basis assertion and we gave you, to give you your ass, measurements of elevation angles. Described how the stars aren't. There he is, straight through the top of me. Yes, we established we can hear you, horse, and you're having to be server muted, because obviously it's only the globe defeat that's going to lead to the intolerable, incessant interruption. No response, stony silence. And then, am I being heard? Yeah, you're constantly interrupting as I hand you your ass. It's not 360. 180 to a horizon that stars aren't smashing into when you measure them. Are we clear, horse?
Hey.
No, it's only when I'm talking, right? You can't bear to give me a concession. We know you can hear me. Can you hear me, horse? No, well then you're an audio incompetent and we need to have you removed because you obviously can't hear me. We can hear you interrupting.
Hello?
Just get rid of him. That's it. Last chance. Piss off. Get lost. Done with you. You're a dick.
Okay, I'll just go on mute.
No, you won't. You'll be removed. If you can't respond to me when I take apart your stupid garbage and hand you your ass, and you can't listen to 10th examples of things not crashing into the horizon, and then every time we try and get you to acknowledge your loss, you try and establish if you can be heard. You're a prick. You're nothing more than the typical globe-believing prick that comes here and can't have his ass handed to him. He can't acknowledge your failure. No, we don't have 360. That was a basis assertion. We dealt with it. But when we tell you how Earth's measured flat, we get nothing but silence, don't we? And an intolerable prick who can only interrupt. Now you don't get to take part in the conversation anymore. You had 3 opportunities. I gave them 3, counted them off. That's it. Goodbye. No, you're not just going to put yourself on local mute so you can interrupt the next point, having not addressed anything I've said, and you've ignored 10th man. No. Get lost now. Next. About 15 minutes left.
He's pretending that he can't hear you. Can you say it a few more times?
You're a globe-believing dick who doesn't get to take part anymore because you couldn't acknowledge when you had your ass handed to you. Goodbye. Hope you can hear me. Can you hear me? Check, check, check.
Horse, he's just back healing the truth.
Terrible.
Well, I've been dealing with Palmerston in the chat while this has been going on, and I did drop something in Master B for you, Nathan. He's too scared to come in and actually speak. However, you may want to address what I've put in the chat to fill in some time.
What about it?
Into Master B.
What about it?
Well, this is his definition of a level horizontal line on the surface of the Earth and how mean sea levels derived.
First sentence, it says level line. A line that is at its constant height relative to mean sea level. Okay? So within one sentence, we'll need a mean sea level then. Yeah, okay. Welcome to Flat Earth. Whoever conjured this image out of the necessity for mean sea level would have to acknowledge that we'd need a mean sea level to do this with, wouldn't we? Well, that was easy.
Correct. So what he's claiming is the second part, the horizontal line, which is the tangential line to a level line at a perpendicular point that is perpendicular to the direction of gravity. This is your straight line. So he's claiming that these horizontals on the sphere can be the horizontal reference frame required on the Earth.
There are no horizontals on a sphere.
He's also denying the slope intercept formulas.
Okay. Well, that was fun. You'll need a flat Earth for that. There you go. Dealt with.
Excellent.
Yeah, he has to deny them. Of course.
Well, he's mentioned his level, sea level, and horizontal. What's that got to do with curvature?
I've got about 10 minutes left live, so this is always the case. If there's any last stragglers that want to ask anything, make any assertions, baseless or otherwise, feel free.
Well, we
I
were
want to
trying to
know
get
why he was
Palmerston in
scared
here,
to
but
come in here.
he's too scared.
Hey, Nathan, I just sent you some images in Master B you can comment on just based on this guy.
Well, I'll put them up if you want to do it. I've got the first one up. Examples of straight angle.
Okay, no problem. Let me just get to what I sent.
No worries. It's on screen for the audience
Okay.
anyway.
Yeah, so you see a straight angle is a 180. And then you can see here they're putting the protractor image on top of it. 0 to 180, 90 being in the middle. So that's how Earth is measured. The next slide shows that one image that you had on your show, right? With the vernal equinox.
Yep.
Yeah. So when they measure the stars, they use the vernal equinox date in March because there is no Earth tilt. Earth is flat. Even their equator is flat in their model, which is not a model, it's a paradigm. So you've got the vernal equinox showing a straight angle extending from the center of the Earth all the way to the imaginary celestial sphere. And then you got this elevation angle measurement originating from the center of Earth from a point, and it must have a 180 baseline. And that's what they use for all star locations when they make a map of the stars. So what does that mean? Well, that means you need a flat baseline all the way to the celestial sphere. I think that's a bit further than 3959 radius of a globe Earth. And there is no tilt. And Earth is considered stationary and the stars are moving. This is their prerequisite for their globe to have star maps.
Yeah.
The next one.
Yeah, let me just add to that. The globe bit is surplus to requirements. It's not being measured. It's not being used to measure. You're measuring an angle through it, and it's been created through converting these angles by a Haversine formula to create a glorified protractor surplus to requirements inside the celestial sphere, with you inside that globe, but ultimately on the equatorial and extended celestial plane. The one the angle measurement in this diagram is coming from. The plane that the angle is with respect to. That's it. Go ahead. I'll put the next one up.
Yeah. So the next one shows a straight angle showing a 45-degree elevation angle, and the remainder in yellow. Where's the curve?
You can't get an elevation angle from a curve. If you're going to in any way infer that it's something to do with a curve, you'd do it in reference to this with you inside the globe. You can't get elevation angles from the surface. That's nonsense. You get them from the equatorial and extended plane if you're going to describe it with a globe that's surplus to requirements inside the celestial sphere.
We can go to the next slide and imitate with a circle what they're trying to fool you with a globe. You see that?
Yeah, straight line, that's the
Straight.
surface. 180, that's the angles you're measuring with respect to stars that aren't crashing into the horizon when you measure them. You can then pretend that this 180 with the curly arrow is the actual globe. You're not standing on it, you're standing in it, but you can project points to the sky that you just measured and leave the globe that you're not standing on surplus to requirements. As per this diagram, the first one you had up.
Yeah. Go to the next slide.
Yep.
And we have another one here that you can comment on because you're doing a good job.
Well, this is the same thing. It's you measuring the celestial equator in this description by label, but it's a 40-degree angle to the stars. So, okay, well, what could you say this globe bit, if you call it Earth as it's labelled? What is it? Well, it's a glorified protractor. You're not measuring the surface, you're measuring this surface. And what are you measuring with respect to this surface, that the globe definitely isn't? Well, the light in the sky at an angle to the celestial plane. As I just described, this bit's completely surplus to requirements. You're just measuring a 40-degree angle off a flat Earth. But you can create this ball to make it seem like it's got some part of the process. You're not. You're measuring, when you describe PZX triangles, when you first made your gambit into this live stream, 10th, the PZX triangles that are curves of the sky when presented in a perspective view. Again, nothing to do with the globe Earth surface, but they pretend that because the angle matches, you can have that PZX triangle down here, therefore it is the surface. Like, we don't have curved triangles, we can't get elevations from a curved surface, we're not taking tangential measurements when we measure angles to stars. The globe is completely redundant. It doesn't have any use. It's just an imaginary created paradigm that's been utilizing flat Earth measurements to create it in the first instance.
Nathan.
Morning.
Morning.
Good morning, Chuck. Nathan, 0 to 90 and 90 times 60 co-altitude is 5,400 nautical miles on this 180 straight angle. We proved it yesterday, even using AI, who had access to all the resources faster than any human can get. The astronomical rectangle creates an inverted right angle for the sky, and the baseline that's in the sky is the co-altitude after you subtract it from the elevation angle at sea with a Mariner section using the horizon for the horizontal reference to get perpendicular. And it's the exact same distance on the surface of the Earth, as AI said, as it is in the inverted baseline in the sky. So what is 90 times 60 nautical miles? 5,400, right?
A massive flat area that we've
Please
just
go
measured.
to that slide I just sent you.
Okay. Yeah.
What's the radius of the Earth on the vernal equinox where the Earth tilt is negated and we need a flat, straight 180 cutting through this circle that they say is the globe? So from the center, the radius line to the edge of the globe paradigm of theirs is 3959 radius, correct?
Yeah. The equatorial minimum that the globe must be if you're going to infer it exists.
So when we convert it to statue miles, 3959, what is it in nautical miles?
3450? 3440 on this?
Yeah, what's 90 times 60 again? 5,400 nautical miles.
Much bigger than the globe in terms of the flat surface that we would describe when we're using areas of equal elevation.
So when you're at the equator and you use your sextant to Polaris, it's 5,400 nautical miles away. And when you turn around and in their paradigm aim south, it's 5,400 nautical miles away. on a flat 180. That's 10,800 miles, nautical miles of flat surface. Bye-bye globe.
Yeah, it's all measured flat. But yeah, it's set in
All
stone.
right.
You can't alter the 39.59 value because it's the equatorial minimum. It's what gives them what they call the equatorial plane that only works at the equinox. So what do you actually have in terms of squaring that circle when you need to extend out bigger areas of equal elevation that overlap? Well, you have the extended celestial plane. It's like, no. We're just on a big plane. There's no surplus to requirements protractor globe that we're not using. We're just on a big plane.
And there is no doubt that they're using the vernal equinox date where Earth negates the Earth tilt of 23.4 degrees. It negates Earth spinning because they say the stars are moving, the Earth is considered stationary. And this is from their own books.
Right. Got time for one more question, maybe? We have them. We're about a minute away
Yep,
from the end. Oh, okay. Go on.
I have a few from the chat. Here. Now, I know we covered this at the beginning, but they are requesting, could you play the True Globe clip? It's only about a minute long. Maybe give some feedback on that.
No. You need to come in and talk to us. I'm not playing somebody's clip.
No, they're flat earthers requesting that if we could play the True Globe.
It doesn't matter who it is. It wouldn't be like a prejudice against it being a Globers clip. If somebody wants to detail what the clip is, maybe scared.
Yeah, so that was the clip that was posted to you earlier in regards to Bev claiming that the shape of the Earth is a globe.
Yeah, I said the same thing at the beginning of the show. This is something that we will definitely cover, but just not on a stream that we're live with loads of participants that are potentially asking us a question. I'm literally just about to round out the live stream.
Hang on. Is this the same Bev, Try Thinking, who told me that you know your latitude when you take an elevation angle measurement to Polaris?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, then you can forget about what he's saying.
Anymore? Seriously, though, if people are in the VC and they do want to ask a question, this is the last opportunity before I round out the live stream. Nope. Well, with that, I'm going to say, first and foremost, a huge, massive, enormous thank you as ever to the Politics Flat Earth 24/7 Discord for having us today, and a massive thank you to my G Plus panel for making the live show possible. Of course, a massive thank you to all of you, including BJ, who just smashed the... Was it BJ or was it... Look... BG for smashing the super chat. Thank you very much indeed. And everyone else for smashing the super chat, liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing, joining as a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member, and all that good stuff. Stay tuned if you are watching on an after show. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I will see you all in the next video.
Yeah, he's got the stars and the sun under his feet at some point.
Are you covering the only claim made on the live show? Yeah, baseless assertion, Neil. Not how we measure it.
No, that was great. You hold him to measurements and he can't move from there.
Same thing with Bev. He told me that when you see Polaris, you know your latitude on Earth, and obviously that's an elevation angle and must have a 180 baseline, meeting of the GP of the star to create the perpendicular. So now, supposedly, I haven't heard it, it comes out with a video saying the Earth is a curved, a globe, circular, whatever. I mean, this is nonsense.
Okay, let's hear this clip then.
Globe is the one we live on, right? Things that happen in reality, they obviously go on the real globe, because if they don't, you're struggling. Your mind is not within reality if you're not.
What the hell is he babbling about? Things that happen in reality happen on the globe, because if they're not, you're not of good what, mind and consciousness? What's he babbling about?
You started over again.
Huh?
Yeah, started over again. The juicy bits to come.
Within this arena, they're geometrically illiterate, or their rhetoric is just so bad. Now, what we're here for, people may think, you know, we're here to clean up your argument.
I can't just... Okay, can we just hear
Well,
it?
yeah. No, I know, but I just want to... He said the juicy bit is coming. The juicy bit was right there. He's saying they're geometrically illiterate when it's based...
We know
that. With the elevation angle, who's geometrically illiterate.
There's more to come.
The real globe is the one we live on, right? Things that happen in reality, they obviously go on the real globe. Because if they don't, you're struggling. Your mind is not within reality if you're not imagining reality. So there's a real globe that we all live on. It's definitely not flat. And since they're the only two choices we've got, flat or globe.
Wow. So that'll be a false dichotomy then. No, it's measured flat. Interesting that Bev's now literally punting a globe. Wow.
I think he was sarcastic in a sense there. Keep continuing.
Yeah.
And we all know it's definitely not flat.
So it's measured. Not flat because what? We measure the topography with respect to a horizontal plane of reference, Bev? I don't think so. It's definitely flat.
Then must be a globe. Must be the real globe.
No, number one is measured flat, and number two, if you're going to infer sphericity, it's going to come from those flat Earth measurements.
Everybody's taught it from school, supposedly.
Yeah, the real globe is not a sphere, though.
No, it's just a shape.
The real globe's not a sphere. No, that's right. It's just a shape. These people literally stir crazy now. Have they lost their minds? Is it literally how many double-speak contradictions can you conjure in one sentence?
He didn't lose his mind. He's just showing his true colors. It's all coming out now.
Yeah, reality's reality, right? Globe, put it all together, imagine it's whatever you want. Like, you can, obviously, you already do. You imagine your globe. We know that the real globe is the one we live on, right? Things that happen in reality, they obviously go on the real globe. Because if they don't, you're struggling. Your mind is not within reality if you're not imagining reality. So there's a real globe that we all live on. It's definitely not flat. And since they're the only two choices we've got, flat or globe, and we all know it's definitely not flat, then must be a globe, must be the real globe, since everybody's taught it from school, supposedly.
Yeah, the real globe is not a sphere, though.
No, it's just a shape. Yeah, reality's reality, right? Globe, put it all together, imagine it's whatever you want. Like, you can, obviously, you already do. You imagine your globe.
Okay, very shilly. I don't know what to say.
Well, in the chat there, it says the real globe is the problem for the false dichotomy.
He said something. We all know it's not flat. Who's the we all know there?
That's him. He's measured it to be not flat. That's
no,
Bev's line.
No, Ben is so pedantic on this that he fools himself. So when you look out and you see a hole in the ground because a tractor was there digging a hole, you say, see, it's not flat. It's depressed, so Earth is not flat. Or if he sees a little hill, well, you see, it's not flat. There's a little hill. It's measured flat. Topography is different. Sea level is the reference. Water at rest is flat, Bev.
Right, we're going to bid farewell to the
Hey, everyone.
politics server and thank them for having us. Thank you very
No
much
problems.
for having
Thank
us.
you,
as always.
We did that already.
Been good as always. Hopefully by next week we'll be in a room because I think we'll have more free flowing questions when people perceive that there's a stage to be on. So till next week, thank you very much as always.
Yeah, no worries. Good luck with getting it all up and running next week.
Yeah, I'll have a word with Righteous. Thanks for filling me in. Next week. Thank you very much. See you all next Friday.
Hi, Nathan.
Hey, Brian.
Boy, I said.
Did you see my videos? What did he say?
You headed south yet?
What?
Yeah, you headed south yet? Since we all join, it's bye politics, bye.
I say goodbye to Nathan.
He said goodbye and he said hi.
I was saying goodbye to politics, not you.
I know. I was. You were saying goodbye, and I just bye, Nathan.
Very good. Did you see my videos?
I didn't see our videos.
I
No, I
put a
didn't.
tremendous amount of work, 6 hours of editing.
Wow.
Did you see
I
it?
did see a clip. I saw a short. Sorry, I saw a short video.
That's
A
fine.
short video.
Yeah, I turned it
That's
into
what I've
3.
seen, yeah.
There's a short, a 3-minute version, and a 15-minute version.
Oh, I'll definitely watch the 15-minute version a bit afterwards.
Yeah, that's the
Unless
one.
you want to play it.
That's the one that took about 5 hours to edit.
Yeah.
play it.
Wow.
For 15 minutes. I suppose I could make a pot noodle. Yeah, I'll play it.
Play it and go make your pot noodle.
Yeah, I'll play it. If Adam agrees. You okay, Adam?
I only heard, do I agree? So that's, I don't know.
With me playing the video that came out just before the live stream started. It's 15 minutes long, though.
I've been completely oblivious, so I know nothing. I know nothing.
Of course, because you're not
Win a chance to treble your cash.
Even if he did know, he wouldn't tell you.
It depends what mood I'm in.
Okay, well, I'll play it. Let me just think how I'm going to do this.
Kiwi can make you a pot noodle.
Kiwi can make me one. I'm
Send it
thinking
over.
no. Right, but I need to share it with you because otherwise you'll get anarchy that you can't see what's going on. Although there isn't anything to see really, it's just Kiwi's card for the most part. But I'll share it anyway.
Now we can just hear it.
You want to just hear it? That would be a lot easier.
Yeah.
I'm grand with that.
Okay, I'll play it. For
What,
the
what
audience,
are we
'cause
hearing? Just
there's always one.
just some whale sounds we recorded a couple of days back. It's only 15 minutes.
I find that very relaxing. As long as
Exactly,
it's
I
not
thought
me losing
we'd-
my shit.
On a Friday. it's a treat.
Nathan,
Yes.
Nathan, are you making a pot noodle because it's pasta your showtime?
Yes.
Pasta is showtime.
You have the Respawn Remedial Double Speaking Lion Sewer Rat, guns a-blazing out of the gate ether argument from FED episode 1702 from 8 months ago.
Well, we have electromagnetic waves that we can show, and either it has a medium that it's waving through, or it's waving through nothing, which is an asinine claim.
So we have electromagnetic waves, which this thinks is light, waving through a something medium because they can't wave through nothing. Therefore, his something medium is ether. Then he gets a bit more specific.
Basically, if you have a vacuum chamber, which it does still have some molecules in it, right? But you have all kinds of electromagnetic fluctuations that you can measure and detect within that. And so it's like, what's the energy traveling through?
Now we have a vacuum chamber, you know, the ones we trip over when we walk around in nature, with electromagnetic fluctuations in it, which this idiot considers light. And his question proof for his retard ether is, what's the energy traveling through? Let me say that again. His question proof for his retard ether is, what's the energy traveling through? You got that? Some more light traveling to support his idiot ether claim, so there's no mistake.
No, just based on antecedent relationship. Like,
Sorry,
it's just
what was the phenomena studied in this highly scientific parlor trick? What was the phenomena studied?
The difference in travel of light. The difference in travel of light. The difference in travel of light.
You get that up to this point?
You told me what proved it was the travelling through it. Now you're saying it doesn't travel, so that doesn't prove it then, does it?
No.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't prove ether. You've lied to an entire community of people. You total scumbag. Now you so nonchalantly say no. No, it doesn't prove the thing you're trying to prove with it. You butter. You disgust me.
You're a clown, dude.
Okay, so that's a straw man. What I actually...
It's your claim!
Like fear in his voice, his quivering, tightening throat. He knows he's been caught in his bullshit lies.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is a straw man. My actual position is that...
You hear the fear?
You're done.
Can you hear how terrified this look is? That's because he's lied to all of you. Don't give Witsit money. Ostracize this scumbag liar from your community. Remove him from your lives. He'll just lie to you again and is about to lie to us now. That's what liars do. Like NASA lied to you, Witsit will start lying to you now. He's just here to scam you out of money with this fraud about ether and how it travels through mediums that can't be no thing. Liar.
I've said light does not travel for many years,
So it's
long
not
before...
travelling through a vacuum proving ether then, you lying scumbag. He's still here. Pack your bags and get out of flat earth. You're not welcome, and I'll make that abundantly clear every time your name's mentioned. I'll point out your lies. Do you hear me?
Yeah, he hears you.
Go, get lost, leave flat earth. We don't want deceivers here. We've had enough of them. That's why we left the globe. So we wouldn't be deceived by scumbags punting lies about ether. We double speak that when they're caught red-handed doing, they go, oh, well, no, that doesn't prove ether. No, it doesn't, does it? Yet making you an outright abject scumbag liar that doesn't deserve to be in the company of flat earthers. So get out.
Don't use bullet points in a presentation. Look, if you are responsible for driving new...
If we have a vacuum chamber and there's some atoms...
Whoa. Where'd you get the vacuum chamber from?
We built a box.
Yeah, it's man-made. Where do you find a vacuum in nature?
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, yes, it does. That's what we're talking about. We're talking the nature of our reality.
Yeah, so what's around whatever is, if you pull as much gas pressure as you can out of the box, what's in the area there is no gas pressure?
There's still, you can't have a perfect vacuum. There's still molecules in there.
What's around the molecules?
The space.
So what is space?
Length, width, and height. Length, width, and height. Length, width, and height.
So it's just a conceptual description of math?
Yeah, it's a conceptual description of space, yes.
So there's just math around the molecules?
Math? Where did I say math, moron? I'm the paterfamilias, and you know it. I'm not playing any
You just said space
games.
was math, bro. You just
I'm not playing any games. Witsit. Now, since you train wrecked that, we want you to explain this contradiction. Are you ready?
No, when I say light doesn't have a speed, it's as in travel from point A to point B. Rate is still technically a speed, of course.
Yes,
so,
that's a contradiction. Rate's a speed, yes.
So fair enough, I will yield that because my point is very specific. It doesn't have a speed as in travel from point A to point B. That is just an erroneous assumption.
I don't mind carrying on from like 10 months ago.
See how scared he is to have an...
Hey, Witsit, how's it going? Hi, Witsit, I don't mind carrying on from here. So if it's not travelling through no thing, that's not proving ether then?
Oh, my whole point was that nothing cannot exist, and then
No. You told me that it was travelling through no thing, and you couldn't have no thing. It must be a thing to travel through, and that's what proved we had ether 10 months ago. Now we've got to the point where you're saying, I concede. So it's not proving... Is it just me or using your mute button on me when it comes to the conclusion of your double speak? I'll just try that once more. So it's not proving ether then, Witsit, because we're not going to describe how it travels through no thing, the vacuum, that would prove there's ether, because it's got to have something to travel through. So that crap that you peddled to me quite a few months ago does not prove ether then?
No, because that's a straw man of my position.
No. Right, so was that a no? It doesn't, does it, ether boy?
That's a straw man. So
sorry, it doesn't prove ether then. Your claim that light travels through the thing and the thing is ether, proven by the fact light travels through it. Now you're saying I don't claim it travels. It's the rate of illumination. Bullshit. So that doesn't prove ether then. Because you contradicted yourself. You yield to your shite that didn't prove ether then.
Unbelievable.
Okay, again, this is a straw man.
It's not a straw man, it's your claim!
Stop. What's a straw man? You told me what proved it was the travelling through it. Now you're saying it doesn't travel, so that doesn't prove it then, does it?
No.
No, he's conceded his failure. Now shut the hell up, you deceitful little shit.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't prove ether. You've lied to an entire community of people. You total scumbag. Now you so nonchalantly say no. No, it doesn't prove the thing you're trying to prove with it. You bullshitter. You disgust me.
You're a fucking clown, dude.
Okay, so that's a straw man. What I actually
It's your claim!
His fear in his voice, his quivering, tightening throat. He knows he's been caught in his bullshit lies.
Yeah.
He's been lying to the entire...
Or I'm around children.
And
I'm
now
not
he's
insane like you are.
There we go with the ad homs.
Muting me like a bitch while I point out his utter deceit.
Yep.
He's deceived the entire community and now he's so nonchalant. No, it doesn't prove it's travelling through it. You bullshitting little scumbag. You've deceived the entire community. And now you so nonchalantly just say, no. And then fear comes into your voice where you tell me for the fourth time it's a straw man to the top of me telling you off. You're a deceitful little bullshitter, Witsit.
Okay, so this is a straw man. My actual position is that...
You hear the fear?
You're done.
Can you hear how terrified this little shit is? That's because he's lied to all of you. He's a liar.
He's
deceived the entire flat earth community with his shite. That's why he sounds so terrified. You're a scumbag liar. No, it doesn't prove it. It doesn't. You lied to everybody.
Yep. Yes, he did. Gilly Pong, the other white knight.
Get out of this community, Witsit. I don't want you in flat earth anymore. Turn your back and piss off. You're not wanted here. You're a scumbag, deceitful liar, telling people that how it travels through this medium proves it, but now it doesn't travel. Oh, no, that doesn't prove it then. So you've been lying to everyone, just like I've been telling them. Get out of this community.
Yeah.
Get out.
Make sure you go down there with the final experiment, too. Because you're a flat earth believer. At the very best, you're a flat earth believer.
You talking to flat earthers again, Witsit. So help me. You don't deserve to be talking to flat earthers. You're not one of us. You're just a liar. You're like that guy going to Antarctica. You're just a liar. You're here to lie about what proves ether. You've lied to me. In front of an entire community of people watching you lie. Now, a few months later, you're so happy to say, oh, well, no, it doesn't prove it. So piss off and never come back.
Hey, hold on a second. We got the super safe shifting Mr. Magoo ether clown. Go ahead, booger.
This is how AI optimizes my...
He said super chat. Super. Tony Whitcomb sent Witsit. It all starts with this vacuum in nature that you will never have.
Witsit, you lied to me. Me personally.
It's
about it traveling. You claim proved it. It doesn't. You lied to me and my community. Now I'm disgusted with you. Why are you still here?
Okay, so these are all straw mans.
The difference in travel of light.
I never said that I thought light traveled. Straw mans.
They're not straw men.
Leave flat earth. You've lied to everyone and we've proven it. Taken friggin' years of your scorn from your stupid ether side, telling everyone I'm a scammer. You're the scammer. You've lied to everybody and we've proven it here today. Get out of this community. I never want to see you here again. You're nothing but scum. You're a deceitful scumbag liar. No, it didn't prove it, did it, Witsit? Well, you bullshitted everyone in my audience that it did, didn't you, you lying scum?
The difference in travel of light.
I never said that I thought light traveled.
Why are you still here? Pack your bags and get out of flat earth. You're not welcome. And I'll make that abundantly clear every time your name's mentioned. I'll point out your lies. Do you hear me?
Yeah, he hears you.
Go, get lost, leave flat Earth. We don't want deceivers here. We've had enough of them. That's why we left the globe. So we wouldn't be deceived by scumbags punting lies about ether. We double speak that when they're caught red-handed doing, they go, oh, well, no, that doesn't prove ether. No, it doesn't, does it? Yet making you an outright abject scumbag lie that doesn't deserve to be in the company of flat earthers. So get out.
He ain't gonna go. He's got more sky grifting to do. There's no
Just
way
a
he's
con man, Witsy. You're just bleeding people dry for money. You're a con man. You are a fraud.
Yep.
Yeah? You are the scammer. What have you got to say for yourself? You lied when you said that them travelling through the medium. Bullshit.
Yeah. It's the super shape shifting Mr. Magoo ether clown. Wits it.
Misfit FB 850 sent super bull crapper. I didn't. It's actually the other word, but I'm gonna say that because booger.
Don't give Witsit money. Ostracize this scumbag liar from your community. Remove him from your lives. He'll just lie to you again and is about to lie to us now. That's what liars do. Like NASA lied to you, Witsit will start lying to you now. He's just here to scam you out of money with this fraud about ether and how it travels through mediums. There can't be no thing. Liar.
I've said light does not travel for many years,
So it's
long
not
before.
traveling through a vacuum proving ether, then, you lying scumbag.
I never said that I thought light traveled from point A to point B.
The difference in travel of light.
I never said that I thought light traveled from point A to point B. I've always said.
Told me. You told me personally, you liar. How dare you? So after telling me that specifically, me personally, you're now going to tell me that you didn't say that? No, you've just been caught red-handed lying. Now I demand your ostracization from this community. I demand it. You get out of my community. Mine, not yours, scumbag.
Okay, you're a narcissist.
Scumbag.
That's a you problem.
You are a fraud. You're a scammer. You're just lying to people about ether, and we've proven it, and you've admitted it. No, it's not traveling, so your example about how it travels through the vacuum ain't proving it like you told us explicitly it did. You're an outright liar. I'm telling everybody listening never to give you any money, never to give you any support, and never to consider you anything more than a scammer, because that's what you've been proven to be. We've proven it, Witsy. Your standards for proving ether were just lies. You're a scammer. Do you hear me, scammer? That's why Jaren was calling me a scammer, to cover up for this ginger grifter scam.
Yep.
That's what it was all about. Project how I'm a scammer, because I'm calling him out on his fraud. Calling you out now, ginger scammer. You're scamming people with your lies that we've called you on.
No, just based on antecedent relationship. Like,
Sorry,
it's just
what was the phenomena studied in this highly scientific parlor trick? What was the phenomena studied?
The difference in travel of light.
I never said that I thought light traveled.
The difference in travel of light.
Good.
Okay, so that's a straw man. What I actually
It's your claim.
I've always said.
Told me. You told me personally, you liar. Ostracize this scumbag liar from your community. Remove him from your lives. He'll just lie to you again and is about to lie to us now.
I've said light does not travel for many years,
So it's
long
not
before.
traveling through a vacuum proving ether, then, you lying scumbag. You told me what proved it was the traveling through it.
The difference in travel of light.
Now you're saying it doesn't travel.
I've said light does not travel.
So that doesn't prove it then, does it?
No.
Liar.
I've said light does not travel for many years,
So it's
long
not
before.
traveling through a vacuum proving ether, then, you lying scumbag.
I have to finish writing this paper.
That's it. Everyone else gone. Everyone run away. Oh,
no, we're here. We listen. We know what it is. I've never said that light traveled. Well, what's the proof? The difference in the travel of light. Oh my God.
That checks out.
Yeah, I released that just before the live show went out, like 15 minutes before the live show.
Well, but did you was I in that segmented video or?
Heavily. I had to remove all of it for obvious reasons, Brian.
No, he took it from the mother show. You haven't spoken yet.
Oh, that's all. No, I didn't know because in the last 5 minutes of it, my mother was talking to me, and I just couldn't discern what was going on. That's all.
I would have removed it anyway, Brian.
I just did because you said to me earlier, said, "Did you listen to that video?" And I was like, "No." And so I thought I must have a starring role in it, but I didn't have any role at all. I wasn't even an extra.
No, there was a couple of White Knight extras in there that I left in.
Did we find the video with Hammer yet?
No, that was yesterday's show. That was in yesterday's 9-hour show.
I didn't hear
the video itself. No, we didn't. Kiwi.
Don't you have it, Brian?
No. You know where it is? It's linked.
Batsy said she was looking for it.
It's linked on one of your show. Sorry.
Is she here?
Yes.
Oh, it doesn't matter.
I'm sure when you find the video with Hammer, you'll nail it.
Yeah, it'll be nailed.
It was on what's his name's channel. I can't remember his name now. But when you and Adam went through it on QE Live, QE, it's linked in that show. You linked it in the description.
Did I link it in the description?
No, you did. You always do.
No, I don't.
Oh, well then. It's not linked in there then. It's on
the Apocryphon?
Yes, Apocryphons. Yeah, he has it.
He's got a channel? What's his channel name?
I don't know.
I'm sure you'll claw it out from wherever it's hiding.
He's in the Master B, I think, isn't he? Apocryphon, or he's in somewhere.
Are you talking about Hammer's channel?
Again?
Because Hammer had refracted philosophy. I remember going there a few times a couple years ago.
Refracted philosophy?
Yeah, refracted philosophy.
Yeah, I quite like the Hammer I watch, Refracted Philosophy. Yeah, so being stern with him and listening to him straw man us and attack us personally because of Ether was a bit sad yesterday. But as I said at the end, it could be that he is still here coming to talk to us, right? As much as it might be painful for him.
I don't have that channel. I'm looking. Yeah. Did he title it? Whitsitt and Brian?
I'm sure there was some kind of I was definitely in the title. Whitsitt versus Brian's Logic or something like that.
But he might have taken it out. I mean, who could blame him?
Yeah. Don't think I have that. I'd say don't. I'll have a look. Give me a little while. I'll have a look and see if I've saved it somewhere.
Yeah, I'm trying to find it. I'm not seeing it.
You'll nail it eventually.
And we can hammer him?
Oh, he got hammered yesterday.
No, I'm just getting modern day debate and the shape shifting Mr. Magoo ether clown.
Is there someone else who can handle this? So we can carry on.
Handle what?
The Hammer.
I think he got a pounding yesterday.
The purge going on again.
But when you take a neutral position in the debate, you're not going to do well.
He's one of them, can't we all just got to get along and we got to work together? I don't work with liars.
Just can't nail this ether down, can they?
By the way, when you pawn, you could only use it once.
Yeah, there are rules here, lads.
Yeah, I mean, Nathan robbed my nail, and then now everyone's robbing my nail.
Nathan, you're the culprit.
You are.
Good luck going through Master B trying to find that thing. That was some time ago.
Yesterday, I noticed there were some screenshots. I think it was Witsit saying he's going to make a lot of cash or money going on these outlets and shows. Is that his defense?
He's going to bury us with receipts.
Yeah, is that his defense? Because I'll tell you right now, there's a bunch of people who aren't telling the truth that are on a lot of shows making a lot of receipts too. So he's in good company.
Yeah, he claims he's got the goods on QE.
So what? What's that got to do with the argument?
No, that's so what? So buttons.
So what's?
And the odd couple, so buttons.
Oh, so but I thought you were going the Lord of the Rings on me here.
He said, so what? And Felix said, so buttons. Oscar said, so buttons.
No, that show got me in stitches, Neil.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head with that one.
Will you stop it?
It is breaking
at that.
I'll find it later. I can't find it there now for some reason. I can't find it anymore. But he did talk a lot of nonsense on that. But most of that, or towards the end now, he did open up a bit. But most of it was just with the complaining about QE and Nathan and not debating.
Look, there's no point talking
but
about
not
the hammer.
supporting his
Look,
claims either. Sorry, Nathan?
well, you haven't exactly nailed the video, so there's no point screwing around talking about it.
Oh my gosh. You're violating the rules. The screw part was good, but you can't use nail more than once.
Nails without humour are just plain boring.
Nathan has it tacked together.
That's just getting a bit tacky, this now.
Oh, this is getting bad.
You got a good point.
One, Nathan.
I said you got a good point. Like a nail.
What now we're cooking?
You know, with his it's moving but it's not traveling nonsense. We never got to it. I was going there the other night with interferometry, and that's why he went against Honeywell, and there was a big ruckus. He didn't want me going to his, you know, when you raise an altitude and there's a change in the speed and you go into
you're feeling no. That's what do you call that?
Problem with that moving? It was a Jamiroquai hit.
No. He called. What did he call that? Appeal to authority.
No, and it was
Honeywell. Yeah,
it definitely was a hit. Hit like hammer. Hit.
Yes, a hit. Yeah. But
Brian, does in this argument, which I haven't been a part of, is Witsit ever citing anything for his reference?
No, but he's the citation. He told me.
Yeah, he said himself.
Okay, so that way he could always say appeal to authority because he is where it all emanates for himself, and he doesn't need any citations from other sources.
Well, according to him, I don't know, Tent, to be honest with you. All I know is that he's at present stating that light is moving but not traveling. Yet his main claim is that hundreds of times or something it was shown to be through lots of different tests or demonstrations. Sorry, it was shown that
appeal to
it moves
authority.
faster in one direction than the other, and at different
Hang
altitudes,
on.
there's different. Go on.
Okay, through tests, it was shown through tests. Appeal to authority. I could do the same thing.
Yeah, it's nonsense. Like about it's people. As I said to Nathan yesterday, it's people commenting on Nathan's video stating that I appeal to authority. They're the ones appealing to authority because Honeywell are the authority, as in they make ring laser gyros and I think fiber optic, but they definitely make ring laser gyros. Whereas people who are appealing to Witsit are appealing to authority.
Well,
Witsit says it's always true.
It's the metaphorical equivalent. You go to.
I recall in your debate back in the day when Bob was still around, he referenced the Van de Graaff generator. And did he invent that, or was there a company that invented that? And would that be considered appeal to authority if we saw how they made it and what it does?
Like you throwing out your tax return that your accountant did, throwing it back in his or her face and going, "This is just one big giant appeal to authority. Who do you think you are, Mr. Accountant?"
That was funny because Brian said appeal to authority. They made it.
What would they know?
But he didn't want me talking about that and about them simply because he had no way to stop me showing what, if I wanted to show what they say or someone looking at it. But also, his main proof at present, well, before day or night, was that at higher altitudes, it moves at different rates and it moves at different rates in different directions, east or west, west or east, whatever. That's what he's talking about. Now, you can't have rate. You can't have a rate and sorry, you can't have a rate and a movement and it be in one spot.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, because he was saying,
Otherwise,
I'm not saying it travels from A to B. I'm just saying it moves. Well, that's not what you said before.
Well, what he's claiming concerning different directions and altitudes makes no difference then. If he's claiming that it just moves at different rates on the spot, that means absolutely nothing. Not that anything he says means anything, but I'm just saying.
That thoroughly confused me the way you said that. So rate and movement are what to him?
The contradiction. It's the contradiction we're pointing out.
It's meant to be confusing because that's what he's doing. He's confusing everyone. He's claiming that light is moving from A to B without stating that it's moving from A to B, and he's claiming it's moving from A to B at different rates, at different altitudes, and in different directions. Now, how can it move? Right?
Hold on. QE caught, let me just give you an example.
But not traveling.
QE caught him out in this. So after catching him out in it, he makes the disclaimer when he brings it up for a second time and says, "I appreciate that rate is a journey." And QE goes, "Yes, that's the contradiction."
So he tried to use the different rate of movements to back up his point.
No, to back up that it does. No, to back up that it does not move.
Not move. That's where I was going. So he's going to use what people have said happens at a higher altitude, but when he does, he destroys his own argument.
His argument was crap to begin with. The point isn't that necessarily tense. I know you are correct, and that's why there's been a short pause. But the reason there's a short pause is because that isn't the overarching point. The overarching point, we've proven ether's nonsense and complete garbage many times. But in this particular example, Witsit's willing to lie about it. Explicitly lie. That's the point here.
Yeah, what he did back in 1702, when the ether argument came out of the gate, his shining proof was the travel of light in the Michelson-Morley non-experiment. That's what he came out the gate with, because you can't have nothing. So Nathan asked him, and they were talking about the parlor trick and everything. And he said, well, the difference in the travel of light was the phenomena. And then the most egregious thing that he's done is say that he never said that. That was never his position.
Yeah, but you remember that?
He denied the very initial argument he made to Nathan about, yeah, you were there.
No, I know. He also, there was a term he used when we said, okay, look, we don't have a problem with it. Just show it to us. Show us the evidence. And there was a term he used. I'm going to say the wrong one here, but like it's unmeasurable, but it was something like that. What was that term?
We're going to run into it tomorrow. I'll tell you that.
Incoherent.
Incoherent, right? But it's like when you said, "Well, can you measure it?" What was his answer back in the day when we asked him that?
He would say something like, "It's asinine to assume that there isn't anything there. You can't have nothing. Therefore, something's there. Therefore, there's an ether that the light must travel through, proving there's an ether because light's traveling through it." What's that you say, Witsit? 8 months later, I've never claimed light travels.
Yeah, there was a term, something about it's invisible, or you can't. I can't remember.
You're talking about the rate of illumination.
I can't remember, but it was something so funny that we all laughed. Wait a minute, you can't even.
Excitation.
Is it like it unmanifest?
Hold on, I think Adam's guessing it. Go on, Adam. Hold on.
Like that.
Hold on. Go on, Adam.
He said he said at some point he said show me where I'm conjuring something from nothing, and in text I wrote it's probably where you're calling nothing something specific where you're conjuring something from nothing.
that could be it. Could be. More investigation required.
Non-manifest was the word he used.
Non-manifest. Okay.
Yeah, non-manifest. Yes.
Yeah, so if it's non-manifest, how
But just say it again. Ask me again.
What?
Ask me if it can be non-manifest.
Oh, yeah, it's non-manifest.
No, you can't have non-manifest things. So it must be something. You can call it whatever you like, 10th. You could call it ether.
Yeah, 10th. I told me when I said, so you're talking about radiation then. Call it radiation, call it ether, call it anything you want. There's something there. It's like, so radiation then.
Right.
Well, that wasn't his original gambit. It was, remember, it was the immaterial media. He said a lot of, I got them all written down.
I was going to say, he said a lot of stupid shit. It's just nice to catch.
It was immaterial and non-manifest, but he measured it somehow.
But just to summarize this particular endeavor with Witsit, right? It's more the fact that in previous discussions, he's made explicit claims that say or suggest he's proving ether with something specific. Now, in the example, it's light traveling. So he's claiming to prove we've got an ether because the light's traveling. And his shitty examples and nonsensical doublespeak that came along with it at that particular point in time. You move forward in the timeline, and he's literally denying that he would ever claim that. And after that show, he came into the after show, or I started recording more accurately, and he told me that he would brace against anybody that would claim that. Anybody that would use light travelling as a proof of ether, I would fight against that sort of person, was his opening gambit.
That's correct.
He's just a liar. There's no other words for it. He's just a liar. So forget about ether.
He must be fighting against himself.
Again?
He must have been fighting against himself then.
Yeah. That's right, exactly. So what, you're bracing against you when you were telling me and my audience that this was the proof? Just an outright, downright scumbag liar.
Okay, here they are. So according to Shitsit, ether is a substanceless medium, not materially manifest, a non-manifested medium. Ether is immaterial. Ether is an immaterial postulation. And then he said it was a substantive medium. And he said the wave, light, is the medium. A wave is a movement through a medium. What?
This is very similar to when people lie to themselves and they believe both contradictions as being true.
Yeah, he's got like 10 contradictions in that, QE.
Yeah.
Yep.
But it's magical, and lots of people have fell victim to this. Lots of people. They're all crawling out the woodwork. I don't know how or why this particular tete-a-tete with Witsit has brought out all of the ether victims, because we've done it many times. But this time more
I'll
than
tell you
ever.
why.
Go on.
I'll tell you why. This is just my personal opinion from observing him and others that support him. He is proclaiming to have knowledge that's hidden, that he has found, and he's more like a savant. And people want leadership in their life, so they all gravitate towards secrets that he found out, and he's going to set them straight on many topics. And so, if I didn't say that right, something to that effect is what's happening here when a bunch of people who can't think follow someone who knows how to think for them. And he's got quite a following because he takes on conspiracy theories and all kinds of other things. And he talks so fast, and it's all like repeating things he read. But when you say articulate it, back it up, where's the proof? Well, it's not manifest, but it's also manifest. Well, that's a contradiction. No, it isn't.
Well, he kept on coming in and saying, well, I never said it was science. I never said it was science. He did that a number of times. I think he might have did it on the after show the other day.
He did.
Yeah. What's it? We have never claimed that you claimed it was science. That's not the point. You moron.
Huey, can I ask you a question? Isn't he part of that group that says science doesn't prove things? So when he says, I never claimed it's science, isn't he saying science proves things?
You'll have to ask him.
Hold on.
It'll depend on.
He's contemplating Antarctica, is he not?
Yes. No,
immediately he's indicted.
He's
immediately.
Going.
He's going.
He's immediately indicted in that scientific regard then.
Oh, we have yet to even. We're just at the tip of the iceberg with the double speak contradictions.
Yeah, but that crowd says science doesn't prove things. Why would he say, I never said it doesn't prove things?
No, he said it never was science.
Yeah, he said I never claimed it was science, so it can be scientifically validated.
Listen to I said it properly. You just missed it. They say science doesn't prove things. Then he says, I never said it doesn't prove things. Of course, he didn't say those words. He said science, but if science is analogous to it doesn't prove things, he might as well have just said that.
Well, he also said science does prove things.
Yeah.
So he takes manifest, non-manifest, science doesn't, and science does prove things. So he's two sides on everything.
Yeah, that's with its MO.
This is the train wreck. He first come in and said, remember, it was an immaterial medium, right, to you guys in 1702. A number of times, immaterial medium. It's immaterial. It's not part of the physical world. But nothing can't exist. That friggin' double negative idiot shit. So what he's saying is, since nothing can't exist, and he just said that ether was immaterial, which is basically nothing. So nothing can't exist. So there has to be something in there. And the something in there is ether, which is a nothing. Because it's immaterial.
Then ether can't exist.
If you go through the logic of that, that's what he's saying when he first came in.
So it's like a thought, right? Because thoughts aren't material, but they exist. So you can think that ether exists. There you go.
He may jump on that.
Yeah,
So,
answer the whole thing.
he may jump on that and use that.
Ether is not radiation, but you can think of it as radiation.
Brian Mooser, shout out.
Here you reference.
But there's electromagnetic waves that you can show that goes through the vacuum. Which electromagnetic wave? You asked them that, Nathan, on that. We're going to get to that on Saturday, by the way. You didn't hold them to task. See, and then you interrupted 10th. The 10th had him by the friggin' short hairs when he said, hold on a second. I want to ask Witsit something. Do you believe the presupposition of there being a vacuum of space? See, 10th had him right there. And Witsit said, no, of course not. What type of idiot would do that? And 10th was just about to bring the hammer down, and Nathan interrupted him.
That's the usual way it goes.
Nathan nailed it. Nathan nailed it on that.
No. He. What Nathan said that after that was, do you think that space is ether?
No, I know. I'm just joking because Nathan kept using my pun nailed so many times, so I just used it again. But yesterday, I heard you say something, but we never got to hear all of it. Ex nihilo fit. Out of nothing, nothing is produced. Nothing comes from nothing. You want to go over that? Because people talked right over it.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out where he got this concept of nothing can't exist, which is a double negative, number one. And I'm just speculating that he got the idea from creation ex nihilo, or creation out of nothing.
Right.
But that's a whole different topic, right? It's not even, it's contextually separated by 4 or 5 orders of magnitude.
Yeah,
so
it is.
I'm just speculating.
Well, we have a record in Genesis. God spoke things into existence out of nothing.
Yes, but I think he got it from quote unquote, that quote unquote. I caught him with that shit too. We should play the beginning of that, by the way. I think I'm like I said, I'm just speculating. I think he grasped it from that, but that has nothing to do with nothing can't exist.
Yeah, something's wrong with that.
So I personally did ask them that. I asked him that a couple days ago. He hasn't even heard it. He doesn't even know what ex nihilo is. I think he's getting it from Ken Wheeler. I think he pairs a lot of things directly from Ken.
See, but when you take, okay, so now that we're in reality, and we do have, he started to go down, he goes, well, what's space? I said, well, length, width, and height. More or less, it's an area. Do areas exist in reality? Yeah. We walk through them all the time. It's 3-dimensional, right? Length, width, and height. Now, if you take a box and somehow remove everything out of that area, what's in there? We're just thinking conceptually now. Don't go down you can't have a perfect vacuum. I'm just saying, if you take everything that was in that area out of that area, does the area cease to exist?
We would call that when you take shoes out of a shoebox, we say it's an empty box.
Yes, that's what I said. It's empty space.
Yeah.
Everyone following this?
Yep.
When you take everything out of that area, does the area cease to exist?
You can't have nothing, therefore it's ether.
No, the area does not cease to exist.
Exactly. It's as simple as that. So that's what I was trying to think. Where do they get this?
There's an addition to that, though. So when you say, because you kept caveating it with it's a vacuum, right? And you can't have a perfect vacuum. Absolutely correct, right? But when you say vacuum, you've defined the convention that you're going to be defining what isn't there in the length, breadth, and depth. Yeah? So if you say, I'm now going to be describing this within the conventions of vacuums, then when you say there isn't anything there, there's just empty space, Well, what isn't there is dictated by the convention you're describing. What isn't there? In this case, particles of gas, right?
Yeah, but Nathan, to assume and have that convention, you still need the shoebox.
But what I'm saying is, if we simplify it down a little bit, if we're going to describe how many shoes there are in a box, and that's the convention we're describing, the number of shoes, and when there isn't any, we say there's nothing in the box, because the only thing that we're describing in the convention is shoes. Now, if you turn around and go, well, there's still air in there, you go, we're not talking about air, though, are we? We're talking about shoes. Now, if you say, well, I'm going to remove all the air, okay. Well, there isn't any air in there anymore, in the hypothetical example, right? You go, yeah, but there's still light in it. Yeah, but we're now working within the convention of how much gas we remove.
But you said it at the end. In it, what's it? It's the box. You
It's the
need
box.
a
Yeah,
container.
it's the box.
Right. So you need a container for all these different points.
It just feels like you're missing
You're
my
going
point.
too far with this.
I'm trying to say that you're working outside of the convention. To say when I remove all the gas because I'm working in the convention of vacuums, I can say that there can't be nothing there, and there is stuff there. You're like, well, all you're doing is saying there's nothing outside of the convention I've used to define what nothing being there means, and that's gas particles. So when there's light there, well, there can only be light there if there's something and nothing, therefore ether is his garbage. Yeah.
But he's looking for a medium for the light.
No, the light is the medium.
No, that's what he has to say now, but it was not material and was not manifest before.
You guys would screw up an anvil. I just wanted to give you conceptually, right? When you take everything out of an area, does the area cease to exist? Just leave it there.
No, not at all. That's why I used the shoebox, because I want to show everyone what a heel width it is.
That's a good one.
Thank you.
No, I thought it was crap. We need a lot more soul to these examples.
Well, you just stepped into that one.
Just trying to shoehorn puns in.
Oh man, you're too quick for me. It's getting them before I'm getting them.
If I say one more thing, I'm sure you'll boot me out of here.
Yeah, I was just going to say I was going to kick you out.
Let's lace up these examples. Come on.
I was going to say kick you out, but boot you out. Yeah, that's nicely done.
Thank you. Well, he came back with lace up these examples. That's a good one too.
All right, let's slip her away from these now.
Slip.
Well, with all of these, we could tie Whitson into a knot.
No, he does pretty good on his own.
Did you see the absolute train wreck? I got it in my recommendations. I had to click on it. Adam, are you there? You unconscionable bastard. No, he's not there. I sent it to him to review. I don't know if this would be... You're still running the show, right? So you can't show this.
Yeah,
Right.
I'm still recording, but not for long. Maybe another 60 seconds.
60 seconds. Then you headed south?
Tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
You go on vacation?
No, not at all.
What?
Well, where are you going? Down to the beach?
Yes, but no. I'll tell you later.
Yes.
Nothing exciting.
Sounds like you're taking advantage of a sandals resort.
Yeah. Yes, but no. You sound like Whitson. Where are you going?
Going to my folks.
Are they near the beach?
Actually, yes, they do live near the beach.
Or you're going near the beach, but you're not going to the beach. Is that what you're saying?
Correct. They live on the coast, but I'm not going down to go to the beach.
Why not?
I'm going down. I'll tell you after I've finished recording. Anyway, I'm going to round out now. So with that, I will say a huge, massive, enormous thank you to both Discord and G+ panels for making today's after show possible. And of course, a massive thank you to all of you for liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing, joining as a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member, and all that good stuff. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I will see you all in the next video.